What is going on, everybody? It is episode 658 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, crisis actors. It's Mary. The national crises continue, but today we're going to talk about pop culture crises because that's our bag. And I'm overjoyed and relieved to have Sara here. We almost thought we were going to miss you today.
Quite an intro. Thank you guys for having me. I had a lot of car trouble, had a lot of trouble in general getting here today.
Not your car, though.
Yeah, not my car, other people's car troubles.
Everything is working against us, you know?
It is, truly. I still made it here, though. I didn't let the forces of evil stop me. So.
Yeah.
How you been?
I've been doing good. Apart from like the last hour, I've been doing great.
That's recency.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple hours.
That's good, though. Recency bias would normally make you feel like, oh, everything's awful because things have been awful for the last hour, but that's not what it is. You've got perspective, and that's important. Somebody who doesn't seem to have perspective is Andrew Garfield, but we'll get into that. Thought I was going to use that as a segue for the titles that we're going to talk about today. But guys, before we get started, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. We have passed 124,000 subscribers. We're actually getting very close to 125,000, and I love my completely ambiguous milestones.
We love our arbitrary milestones.
Arbitrary?
Just to keep us going.
It's what you need to keep the show alive. So guys, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video with your friends, your family, your loved ones, the people you don't like as well, because the more people you share the show with, the quicker this show grows. It really is the best way to help us out. So thank you very much for that.
I just realized we're going to reach 125,000 subscribers with not even an email about the subscriber button.
I know.
I
was thinking about the tweet that I want to write earlier. Like when we hit 125,
What is going on?
when we hit 125, be like, so now is it like the 125K silver play button?
I don't know. There
YouTube's
must be
been
some
silent. Nothing.
waiting
YouTube?
list. YouTube has it out for us. Clearly.
I mean, that feels true recently. I mean, the last week has been...
we're being shadow banned for telling the truth about Andrew Garfield.
You guys are so
they don't
brave.
want you to know.
Yeah, about the witches in Hollywood. So, also, guys, remember all super chats $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We'll read those super chats right then and there, and then we will do our very best to get back on topic. And that is one of the topics today. So, this morning, I happened across this article about Andrew Garfield that I thought was I only thought it was funny because they picked a horrible photo of this woman that he's dating and then used like a red carpet photo of him.
There aren't many great photos of this woman, but
I mean, I didn't know. I didn't
my
know
opinion.
that. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know that at the time, and I said, "Wow, they're kind of doing this woman a little dirty." Well, we find out that she's a witch. She's a witch in Hollywood who makes a fortune doing readings for like big name Hollywood actors and actresses and companies. And, you know, he's dating a witch.
Not to mention, she offers seduction master classes.
Which is still, like, in lieu of most women today, somehow it's still about them. It's
no doubt she used her seduction powers, being a witch and an astrologer, to, you know, bewitch Andrew Garfield.
But she said that's not what happened. She says that she did not use...
She claims otherwise, but we're going to get into the allegations.
Okay, I'm excited for that one.
So we're going to talk about that. We are also going to talk about model Bella Hadid and Adidas, who have got a back and forth going on right now because of a kerfuffle related to her being the chosen model for the re-release of a 1972 Adidas sneaker in honor of the upcoming Olympics. Obviously, as you know, the Munich massacre happened during the 1972 Olympics. So there was some backlash from various Jewish organizations in the community, and they have issued apologies. They literally just took a cannon and shot apologies off to everyone. But it's a huge
you
back
get an
and
apology,
forth.
and you get an apology, and you get an apology. Everyone gets an apology.
It's the Oprah of apologies. So we're going to talk about that whole situation. We are also going to talk about the disturbing new trend that Mary found of girlfriends making videos about low-jacking their boyfriends, and Mary wasn't sure if people knew what that term meant. They're GPS tracking their own boyfriends. They're hiding GPS trackers on their person.
Yes.
Yeah. Scary.
Too far.
too far. Well, we'll get into it. We'll talk about it. What do you think about it? Perhaps you want to share your opinions.
Also,
on whether...
like in the chat, if you guys are married or in relationships, tell us whether you location share with your spouse /SO. I want to know.
Very interesting.
And why. If you do, then tell us the reason why and explain why that's normal.
Just about every TV show since the advent of since the release of the iPhone 4 has done at least one story where the parents have tracking apps on their kids' phones, and the kid gets really upset at the privacy breach, and then they make their, statements at the end, about whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Different shows have had different takes on it, right? So I still remember there was an episode of Madam Secretary where they delete it off their phone. They're like, now parenting without Annette, and then basically the whole thing becomes about how she's not a crackhead, and I guess that's good enough.
Great.
That's a high bar.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into it. Parenting without a net is very different from your girlfriend putting a GPS tracker on you. So we got that. Yeah. We got a bunch of interesting stuff to talk about today. Again, guys, hit the like button on this video and subscribe. If you ladies are ready, we can just go ahead and get started. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Hold on.
Waiting.
Now you're ready.
Now I am ready.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? First things first, Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be the second big hit for Disney this year, as projected income for the movie over the weekend is $360 million at the worldwide box office.
You were just regaling me with details from the first couple of movies and telling me why I would definitely hate them.
Oh, yeah.
And why I would definitely hate this one, too.
I'll tell you a story. So yesterday... it was nighttime, and we were deciding what to watch. And I kind of said that I told Olivia, I said, I need to watch Deadpool again for research to go rewatch this movie.
Obviously. It's work related.
It was work related. That was, of course, a lie. I just wanted to rewatch it. I don't think going into Deadpool versus Wolverine really needs a rewatch, but I did rewatch it, and I did laugh profusely at certain parts that I forgot about and really, really enjoyed. But the number one takeaway I had while watching it is, okay, I've always been very honest. I'm like, look, I don't know what to recommend for Mary to watch. I do, however, know what not to recommend, and I don't think for a second you would find this movie, the movie, funny or interesting. You just wouldn't. Like, the repeated, the sense of humor is just very, very over the top, and it's very vulgar, and you don't really have a problem with, you can handle vulgarity. I just don't think you would find it interesting.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the vulgarity. Obviously, I'm not bothered by vulgarity in and of itself, but it's the very Reddit way that they use it. Like, it's not shocking, and it's not a punchline to just say a bad word. Like, that's very immature to me. But also there are a lot of references they make, breaking the fourth wall, which you would get, but I wouldn't get.
Yeah, when he makes the joke about don't make the super suit green or animated, that's something that only somebody who cares enough to know that Ryan Reynolds played Green Lantern in 2011 and everybody hated it.
So I'm not looking forward to watching this movie on Thursday this week.
But I will say that, look, at the time, an R-rated superhero movie was kind of a big deal. It had been many years, and people had just been so used to being drowned out with PG-13 slop that in 2016, when the movie came out, it was a much bigger deal.
Sure.
Also, it was fun to see Gina Carano, and I forgot she was in the original. It'd been so long since I'd seen it. But yes, I'm very excited to see Deadpool and Wolverine and see if they make me regret me originally saying that they didn't need to make it, because I thought there was no need to bring back Hugh Jackman. But I am always open to being, proven wrong. But 360 million worldwide is a big number.
And Marvel also, I saw this report, they were planting fake leaks to hide the biggest cameos in the movie, which I guess debunks our original idea that Taylor Swift was going to get a cameo in this.
A lot of people are saying that Blake Lively will end up playing Lady Deadpool in this movie. His wife will end up playing it.
That would be cute.
So we'll have to wait and see. I think they're talking about Patrick Stewart cameos and whether that one's going to be there or not. Maybe there'll be a James McAvoy, cameo, but we'll have to wait and see. And again, I would maybe ask you to watch the first one. I don't think you'll need to watch it. I don't think it's the type of movie where the lack of reference point will really matter right? Like it's
Yeah.
like that may make sense more if it's like a deeply felt story, but that's not really what you're going to get here. You're going to get what's closer to a buddy cop done. But I will say that the original Deadpool is just a very like X-rated love story. It really is. If you've have you seen the original Deadpool?
I have, yeah.
It is. It really is a love story about him trying to get back to Vanessa.
Yeah, it is. He's an anti-hero, right? He's like a
Yes.
reluctant hero with a just like super sarcastic, quick-witted humor that you're suggesting that Mary may not like, but it's definitely very popular right now. Very dry. For sure. Like very dry humor.
I just don't. One thing that is funny is in the original movie, he keeps making fun of Negasonic Teenage War. He keeps making fun of her because she's a girl and she's dour and says mean things. And then he keeps making fun of her for that, just like he made fun of what's his name from in the Deadpool 2 thing where he makes the guy makes fun of Nickelback, and then he just defends Nickelback, and the whole thing is about pushing back on that, and it's interesting. Who was that? That wasn't who was the dude from Wonder Years?
Oh gosh,
Savage?
what's his
Something-
name?
It was either Fred Savage or Ben Savage.
Fred Savage.
It was one of those two
It
in
was
the
Fred.
thing where I'm saying in the thing with Deadpool where he
okay.
makes fun of Nickelback, and then he's like, "Oh, you think you're cool because you're making fun of Nickelback," just like he's making fun of. A teenage girl for being he's like, so what will it be? Long sullen silences or mean comment? And then he just shuts her down because she's like, you kind of got me in a box here, dude. Because that's what a teenage girl is want to do. Say something mean or sit there with a dour expression and look sad.
Yeah.
All right, so we did see today that Joker 2 Electric Boogaloo, that is the official. No, that would make us fake news. The new trailer is out. The new trailer is out. I like Electric Boogaloo way better than Folia Boogaloo.
Folia Boogaloo. That's what we'll call it now.
New trailer is out, so I think we should at least watch it. Maybe we'll start doing these as like separate segments. If you're watching this on the replay, we will probably cut this out because we're going to get a super mega ultra copyright claim on this one.
This deserves a reaction, I think.
All right, here we go.
Said, ooh, it's so deep.
Well,
You're kind of exhausted with
I
it.
don't care. Like the original was good and never needed a sequel to be made. I am under no illusions that a movie that cost $55 million to make and makes $1 billion at the box office is ever going to get away without getting a sequel.
Yes.
The idea, anyone who believes that for a second is patently insane. It was always going to get a sequel. It doesn't need a sequel.
Well, it's just a repeat of what we already saw in the first movie where he has a relationship that's totally a figment of his imagination, right?
I mean, I don't know if that's the direction. You're like Zazie Beetz' character in the I have no idea. I don't
like
imagine.
it. Or it's partly real and partly in his imagination.
It could go that way. I'll give them their due. The production design looks fantastic. The color grading, the set designs, all of the pieces together looks fantastic. But it's a Hollywood movie, and outside of for the most part, unless they're doing entirely massive CGI environments where it looks like slop, when they have to design a set, they can do it very, very well, especially a movie like this. And I think the budget is like triple what the initial one was.
That's
too,
crazy.
which is also
Come on,
annoying.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, having Lady Gaga, like
Is
obviously
that-
they have a big budget.
Literally just Lady Gaga's paycheck.
Yep. I did. Okay.
You said that it should have been Britney.
Yes, I said
agree.
Britney Spears should have been Lady Gaga. If you want true vibes that
That's method
match
acting.
what's going on. So I had an interesting thought the other day. I'm old enough to remember when the lights on top of cars were not recessed and harder to see, like the lights on top of cop cars. Like when I was first started driving in the early 2000s, there were still some cop cars that had the big lights on the top of their cars.
Oh, like the single big light?
Like
this one?
those that are bigger like that.
I guess I never thought
now,
about that before.
they
So
different?
suburbs got them first a lot of time because there was more funding in the if you lived in a nicer suburb. I lived in the poor area of the less affluent area of a nice
You guys have
suburb.
the crappy police light.
It's,
Oh,
no, they
someone
had
in the chat
they
said
were
Brittany Murphy.
Well,
That would be good.
Yeah.
Well,
If we had the option.
if that choice was there,
Yeah.
that would be great. But no, I lived in like the lower income area, like the middle class income of a suburb that had a lot of wealthier people, because we were right by where 3M was headquartered in Minnesota. And there were early cop cars there that got the newer ones where the lights were harder to see, so you couldn't drive as frivolously. You could not drive
They're
with
more
as much abandon.
inconspicuous now, is what you're saying.
Yes,
Yeah.
than they were before.
Back then,
I
you
didn't
could
know
look
that.
behind you and know that there was a cop car back there. Now,
Yeah.
after a while, you realize that
Now
you
I
couldn't
just
do that.
assume everyone's a cop.
Yeah, that's probably the smartest thing to do. Yeah, like I just look. I'm also the person who says, like, just because a sequel isn't needed doesn't mean it can't be good. I just praised Twisters, which never needed to be made. So what do I know? I could be 110%.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
I could be 110% wrong about this. But again, movies that are fake deep or deep for the sake of being that don't really interest me for the most part. My biggest, like, the thing I loved the most about the original was the production design, and that was the majority of it to me. But again, most people's complaint will probably be like, this could be made on its own. This never needed to be attached to Batman or DC Comics. The only reason the original got greenlit is because it was attached to those, and there's no way that movie makes $1 billion without all of the controversy around the media and its attachment to Batman as a franchise. Without those two elements, it never hits the financial success it does.
Was it also, there was controversy, wasn't it, with this Joker movie where there was like a movie theater shooting?
In the original, yeah. Well, no,
For
that
Dark Knight
was the Dark Knight Rises that had the
but
theater
they,
shooting
in
like,
2019, the
Okay.
media was scaremongering about how that was going to happen again.
Incels.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah. About incels shooting up movie theaters, but there's no such media frenzy going on for this one.
it's
for this
inherently
iteration.
it's inherently less interesting because the media's on board now. I always
Yeah.
say, like, I use my dad as a barometer for whether it's truly reached the mainstream. And my dad went and saw Joker, and they don't go out to movies very often, and a lot of that was scaremongering from the media telling you that it was going to be an incel's wet dream. This movie, they're all going to come out in force to watch this. Now, if the media is behind it, it's inherently less interesting.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I would say the media is behind it just because they're not openly attacking it.
No,
but
they're-
I get what you're saying.
They're writing articles about how great
Yeah.
Lady Gaga is in it. They're writing 12 things you need to know. No,
I
if they're
bet she's
writing
gonna be a
those-
girl boss in the movie, just like Kate from Twisters.
Oh, I can't believe somebody said that. That was crazy. That's okay. Whatever. Production sign is still great. I don't know if it's going to make the same. Also, the like versus dislike ratio on it is very, very good. 245,000 upvotes to just 5,000 downvotes. So it's clearly got the appeal that they're looking for.
Am I like the only person who doesn't want to see this movie because I think it looks disturbing?
Probably.
Like, does nobody, like, are we so desensitized?
Like, what was
Yes.
disturbing about it?
Well, I mean, it's about a guy who shot someone point blank on live television, and there was just like an assassination attempt. So maybe that's why it's like on my mind. Where I'm like, this is kind of heavy, dark stuff.
You know about these things. Does an election season affect box office performance significantly?
I can't imagine.
Because this
it
is coming
does.
out in October, right?
I mean, election just takes place on one day. Maybe it affects
November
the
5th.
box office on November 5th.
Well, the fact
but-
that people are paying attention to the news cycle more than mainstream entertainment, maybe.
No, because I don't believe. I think that that's a uniquely political view that people who operate in this space think that people are paying close attention, and I
Well,
just don't think
hey.
the average American is.
At least they're not putting a disclaimer on the
Yeah.
trailer due
Yeah.
to that.
That there. So
Well, 'cause
actually,
people haven't made a fuss about it yet. They
It doesn't
could.
seem
They
as
shouldn't,
graphic.
but I feel like they could.
they
I hope they don't.
They just re-released a second trailer for Captain America: Brave New World that removed the scene with the president getting shot in there, as if anybody was
I heard
asking
about
for
that.
them to do that. I don't think anyone
Such
was
a
asking
virtue
them
signal.
to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Also, yesterday we were just riffing about Nara Smith and her incredible trolling skills. She just took an ad with Marc Jacobs where she bakes her own tote bag from scratch.
Let's watch
I've
this.
been craving a delicious red Marc Jacobs tote bag since I woke up. So instead
Damn it,
of
this
going to
music
the
is gonna
store
get
to
me
pick
copyrighted
one,
too.
I thought I would make it myself. Started by mixing my flour, eggs, and water to make the dough, all in one bowl so there weren't too many dishes. Added red food dye to my dough to give it a rich, true red color. I started kneading the dough with my hands to make sure it was silky smooth. Next, I grabbed a rolling pin to roll out the dough and started to cut out the pieces of my toast. I popped it in the oven and baked it for about an hour. When I went to the oven to check on my toast, it was perfectly risen red, so I took it out to cool.
She should have at least put on some
Yeah,
some
make it
oven
believable.
gloves. Come on.
Yeah.
It tasted so much better than a shop-bought tote bag. This one really hits the spot.
I mean, that's perfect viral marketing.
Good for her
Yeah, that's
for
great.
literally and figuratively getting the bag.
I think she should make a whole series of videos where, because the joke that me and Mary were talking about is like, she's like, my husband said he was craving a Coca-Cola. I said, no human being that's an adult has ever said that in their entire life. They just go buy one.
Yeah, I've
if
been
they're
really craving a Coca-Cola lately.
Like,
Like-
she should have one where he's like, I think I'm going to update my iPhone. I'm going to upgrade my iPhone, and she bakes an iPhone from scratch.
Exactly.
Like, there's all sorts of
Possibilities are endless.
She could do
truly.
one like, she's like, I want to get a new truck, and she somehow builds. So she's like, so I went and got a degree in mechanical engineering, and
Yeah.
and
That's
do
the
that.
next step.
There's a
Speaking
20.
of, we got one from Chandler White. Just wanted to say thanks. I listen to you guys daily at work after Alex Jones, and
Perfect.
It's always a good palate cleanser and usually at least mildly entertaining. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what we aim for.
you know-
Mildly entertaining.
You know that saying? It's like shoot for the moon, so you'll land. Even if you fail, you'll land beneath the stars. I shoot for like head high, and then like even if I fail, I'm mediocre, and that's okay.
Well,
that's
You're the
fine.
palate
Thank
cleanser
you for
Alex
watching.
Jones.
I
It's an
do
achievement.
appreciate that, and coming after Alex Jones, that's good company, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's good company. All right, let's move on. So, if that image is anything, when did you find this? Was this last week that you found this?
Yeah, we were going to talk about AI last week, but Elon posted an AI fashion show, and I felt like you guys just needed to see the drip.
Okay, Pope
This
drip
is-
right off the bat.
The Pope Francis drip and the puffer coat. I'm obsessed.
And the Enya?
No, I'm
We got
muting it.
Putin
it?
and the Louis Vuitton. Of course, Elon has to be in it.
It's a spacesuit. It's perfect.
Love the felon drip. Kim Jong-un's serving cunt. Amazing.
Who was that?
Tim Cook, I
Cook.
think. Xi
Oh,
Jinping
wait.
and the Pooh Bear
That's-
swag.
That one is not getting played in China. That is
No.
for sure. Stupid music. That song is only allowed to be used in that Jean-Claude Van Damme commercial where he does the splits between two semi-trucks. Have you ever watched the behind-the-scenes making of that video?
No.
They have his feet taped to the trucks. I'm like, you could have just shown that. Like, it's still scary. You don't
He's a
need to
badass.
CGI it out.
His daughter does the same stuff too now.
Does
His
she?
daughter is like super karate.
Okay, Hillary.
Chick.
Hillary
Never looked
Supreme.
better, Bill.
Honestly, like,
Whoa, I did not want to
Oh.
see Mark Zuckerberg in a Speedo.
Okay, but like
They gave Obama the best fits.
Barack
Look at that.
killed it. He won that fashion show.
Amazing.
Come
honestly,
on.
I liked Kim Jong-un's.
Yeah.
They gave Obama all of the outfits.
He was the only one that's like in shape.
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah. Hope. Who's that though? I don't know who that is.
That was kind of drippy too, I'm not gonna lie.
I like this one, yeah.
Ah!
And then Kamala in the coconut bra.
Whoever made this is unbelievably socially aware.
Yeah.
Like they hit all of the
Yeah.
cliches or all of the memetics on every one of these people.
I can only hope to be that cozy one day.
Runway of power.
And that is. Just thought we would share.
That was, I mean, they hit all of the meme points on all of them. Putting the gloves on Bernie was perfect.
Yes.
All right, guys, it's time for it's a disturbing new beauty trend in Hollywood.
Yeah, obviously, women in Hollywood will do absolutely anything to avoid aging. absolutely anything, I emphasize. And we need to talk about their most disturbing beauty trend. It's not Botox, it's not Ozempic, it's penis facials. Do I need to say more? I'm sure
you heard right.
Yes, you heard that right. They are getting penis facials. You guys might remember an appearance Sandra Bullock made on Ellen back in 2018 where she talked about this skincare treatment derived from the stem cells of Korean baby foreskin.
Let's watch this video.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've seen this.
In which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the serum.
What are you pushing into the skin, Sarah? Sandra?
Sarah?
Carrie? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean baby.
That's so funny.
That's what it is. Who comes up with this?
I don't think. It's not like I'm lying there with little pieces all over my face. It's like.
That would be weird.
Who thinks of collecting it and having it for, we'll do something with this someday.
And why didn't we come up with that?
Right. We'd be rich.
And so we call it, I call it the penis facial. And I think when you see how good it is to your face, you too will run to your local facialist and say, give me the penis.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the gist of it. And she wasn't lying. This isn't a joke. It's not a bit. It's a real thing. And I know the backstory now. Sandra Bullock and Cate Blanchett both went to the same specialist together back in 2018 to get this facial done. And I looked into it. The facialist actually had to provide context because everyone was freaking out. Essentially, no babies were used. This is what they claim. Only clone cells taken years ago. This facialist claims that this microneedling technique gets clone cells taken from progenitor cells, which are the original cells from human baby foreskin, donated from newborn babies from the largest stem cell bank in the world in Korea. And it helps generate collagen and elastin. And this is what she literally injects into their pores, which sounds suspiciously similar to adrenochrome, but we won't get into that.
Look, the X-Files already warned everybody about this.
Cleanser.
Everybody was warned about this in the season 1 episode of the X-Files entitled Eve, which is all about eugenics and cloning. So,
Yeah.
we've come a long way.
But this also mentions Kim Kardashian's vampire facials and Victoria Beckham's bird poop infused face cream.
I think a lot of it is
doing
like,
anything these days but admitting the fact that they use Botox.
not just
None of that stuff works.
but like
creams do not work.
assume that all of this was true and all of the things that these ladies do to stay looking young. And then they take a picture with their husband or their boyfriend and they just look the same age. Most of the time.
What do you mean? Like as her husband?
Like the dude does nothing to his face and they'll end up... Hey, remember
everyone says like the male skincare treatment is just like using a bar of soap on your ball sack and your face.
Remember,
that's what they say.
You sent me the video just last weekend of the guy who's trying to be immortal. He's still at it. The guy who's the millionaire who's...
The Don't Die campaign.
Yeah. The one who injects his son's blood.
All just so he can look exactly his age.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So all that tells me is that if it really, really works, you were going to age prematurely, that or it doesn't work at all. And you just look your age.
They're doing all of these experimental treatments, and in reality, if they look younger than their age, which I would say Sandra Bullock does, it's really just because they're using Botox. But they would rather give the credit to any of these weird treatments. Why does that matter?
Like, Botox is considered completely normal now. It's not like you're going to get shamed for using Botox.
Yeah, but they would rather have it appear effortless.
Yeah, I mean, they
right?
still, even
It's
though we
not
all know they're
effortless.
all on Ozempic, they're not gonna all stand up and be like, yeah, I'm hot because I'm on Ozempic and I have Botox.
And apparently it's not just Hollywood women who are using this treatment. They also listed Tom Cruise, Victoria Beckham, Angelina Jolie, Harry Styles.
He's like 2 years old.
It's not even just Hollywood, I'm sure. I'm sure it extends beyond that if you have money to spend.
Yes, CEOs and business people.
I found actually a listicle full of disgusting skincare treatments, and one of them actually is a facial cream made from nightingale droppings, like actual bird poop that you put on your face.
Remember what was it I said yesterday when we were talking about politics? If they can make you believe absurdities, they can make you commit atrocities. If they can make you believe something that absurd, you know, that's going to work to make you look younger. You know, they can sell you on anything.
Yeah.
There's
It's all
also-
about the wording. I mean, they say these babies donate. It was what you said,
like-
donated foreskins.
Right. It's donated against their will to,
Or knowledge
to the largest stem cell bank in Korea. And Korean skincare is a whole industry in and of itself. They also listed a conditioner for your hair that has bull semen in it. Yeah.
They're laughing at those people.
Goat
All
excrement
the way to
hair
the bank.
oil.
Is it really just, is it, I imagine it's like some type of prank by the people selling it to you to just try and get you to buy this.
I really think that at this
Snail
point. Like,
slime moisturizer as well.
I was in Korea last year for like a day because I was in Japan and I flew to Korea for a day. And I did buy these like face masks that had supposedly snail mucus in them, and they made my skin glow.
That one I'm more willing to believe helps your skin than bird poop or baby foreskins.
Yeah.
Probably-
And if you don't do it every day though, your skin just goes right back to normal.
Yeah.
Like you have to do this stuff every single day.
Just imagine the snails in the snail slime factory working all day to provide their mucus
It's
for
not
your
easy.
skin.
It's not easy work for them.
Not easy.
I suppose, is it really any worse than the many FDA approved treatments we have for anything that are just loaded up with poisonous chemicals and
It's insane that the
toxins?
FDA approved this,
Yeah.
the baby foreskin treatment as well. It's clearly unethical.
Right.
And just gross.
I think it speaks more to like the innate desire from women to remain young, to stay looking young.
well, especially in Hollywood.
and what they're willing to
Yeah.
do for it, right?
I guess. I mean, in Hollywood, yes.
And while
In
they
Hollywood,
claim
okay.
that they're
Oh, I
trying
don't
to
think- I don't think
destigmatize
that's-
aging,
Yeah.
right?
I don't think that that's just Hollywood. I think that's the human condition, is to not want. Now, obviously, you're not going to go to the same lengths. People aren't going to go to the same lengths as a Hollywood actor or actress. But not wanting to age is a pretty universal
Yeah,
concept. I
yeah.
don't think it's just Hollywood or just the wealthy that want to remain
I just mean
young.
like the extent and like the
Yes.
hoops that they will jump through is more extreme.
Yeah.
The amount of
Seems like-
money that they're willing to spend is far more extreme when we're talking about Hollywood. But it's hypocritical that, you know, they're always talking about destigmatizing aging and letting their hair go gray and wrinkles are beautiful, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, they all care about looking young. They tout body positivity while everyone in Hollywood is on Ozempic.
I suppose it's fair to point out that, like, look, the person who's saying that isn't, like, I don't know if Sandra Bullock has made contrary claims, right? I don't know if she contradicts herself, but it is true that there are different sectors of the industry, some who say you should age gracefully and others that say do whatever you can to look young. I don't think it's necessarily fair to conflate the two, as they're different groups, but that seems to be true about just about everything
Yeah,
these
and
days.
it has been since the beginning of time.
Yes.
People
So-
used to sell like BS elixirs,
Yes.
like anti-aging, probably snail mucus, honestly.
Yeah.
Probably
But, you
that
know,
witch
it's-
who's gonna.
Magical oils.
Yeah, yeah. I think it says, and I'm sure there are plenty of men doing this stuff too. If Tom Cruise is doing it, it's clearly working. So, you know.
Tom Cruise does look really good for his age.
does.
So
Yes.
maybe the bird poop is the secret.
Maybe-
Maybe
Yeah, maybe
bird
we're
poop is
wrong.
the fountain of youth.
I think for Tom Cruise, it's drinking water and just running, just endless running. Have you ever seen the YouTube cuts of him? It's just scenes of him running.
Yeah, he has an iconic run.
Yes.
There are years of footage of Tom Cruise running.
There's whole montages on YouTube of just scenes of him running, and they're like extensively long. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's move on then, shall we? Disney adults.
Yeah, the endless cringe from Disney adults just continues pouring out all over the timeline. Recently, there was a video of Disney adults walking around the parks and breaking out into rashes on their skin. I assume that they don't get much physical activity because this is why they had such a reaction. It's actually making them sick to walk around in the sun like this.
Well, I mean, walking around in it's been 95 to 100 degrees over here. Like, I don't know what it's like wherever they are, but it hasn't been
medically dangerous.
It is not necessarily the smartest thing, especially if you haven't been exercising on a regular basis beforehand.
Yeah. You could literally give yourself a heart attack.
But for some reason, they decided to post a video about it.
The Disney rash, yeah. Here.
You've been
If I have to see this, so do you.
dying to get the Disney rash? No, probably not, but it does happen. Hey everyone, we're plus size park hoppers and we range in sizes from 2X to 5X. Make sure you like this video and follow us from our plus size Disney tips and tricks. If you don't know what the Disney rash is, consider yourself lucky. It's also known as exercise-induced vasculitis. It can happen when you're exposed to heat and if you're exercising for a long period of time, which are both super common in Disney World because you can walk between 5 and 10 miles a day. The rash typically appears on exposed parts of your lower legs. It can cause an itching and burning sensation and just be downright uncomfortable. First aid recommended using aloe vera and cortisone to ease the symptoms. We've also seen some people put sunblock on their lower legs to try to prevent it. That's something we're going to try on our next trip. Cooling the area with an ice pack or a cold shower can also provide relief. Lowering your body temperature and elevating your legs are also known to help. We don't all experience this rash, but those of us who come prepared with aloe vera and cortisone in their park bags. It mostly happens in the summer, but can happen on hotter days all year round. We hope that these tips help if you ever find yourself personally victimized by the Disney rash.
They snuck the word victimized in there. Okay.
Yeah.
I like how they're like, do you want to know how to prevent it? It's like, well, there's one way I can think of.
Yeah, not getting the Disney rash, it's got nothing to do with luck. It has nothing to do with aloe vera.
Technically, it has nothing to do with Disney either.
It has nothing to do with Disney either. It's because they're obese. But they actually, brand themselves as plus-size park hoppers. That's what they're called now, park hoppers.
I'm not want to make fun of somebody inherently, but if it's part of your brand... they're giving specialized advice to obese people who go to Disney. I mean, it's not only obese people that can get exercise-induced rashes. That can happen. But yes, it's part of the pull for their channel, right? Is they're giving advice to. They're
calling it the Disney rash. Right?
It's not the Disney rash. It's the I'm exercising outside in the sweltering heat when I don't normally exercise.
One person commented, they call it the Disney rash because Disney is literally the only place where they walk further than 20 feet.
Yeah.
Gosh, that shot of her in the hotel bed raising her legs up to the ceiling, I will never get that out of my brain. I need eye bleach.
I didn't need that one.
You would think though, if they're walking 5 to 7 miles a day, that's exercise. If you're a park hopper and you're doing it regularly,
I guess this is for special occasions for them. Yeah. I don't think they have tried losing weight as a solution. But this was also getting people talking about Disney adults going to these parks without children in general, which is a strange trend. And it's kind of the only thing that's keeping Disney financially afloat these days.
Yeah, the dinks are keeping Disney going these days.
Yeah. There was another video I saw at the same time going viral. It was about a man going to Disney. He was denied entry because he was wearing a shirt with the Palestinian flag on it.
Did this shock you?
I didn't expect this to be a rule, that's for sure.
I love there would be something hilariously ironic. They're like, look, we're keeping politics out of here. You got to go.
Where did you put it?
If you're recording, please back over with the phone.
We're not recording. Back now.
Okay. I just want to see what you guys are.
On the other side.
No, now I gotta back up.
You gotta stay in that side.
Okay, right? I want to see why you guys are not letting me in the park. You said because my shirt says Free Palestine, they're not letting me in the park. Because my shirt says Free Palestine.
This guy is really
They're not letting me in the park. Because my hat says Free Palestine, they're not letting me in the park. Because I'm Palestinian, they're not letting me in the park. Discriminatory. This is America or is this Israel? What the fuck? Because my shirt says Palestine. They're not letting me into
No
Disney
one
World.
else in line
This
cares
is
about your
crazy.
plight, sir.
I thought we were in America. Where are
Excuse
we?
me. I thought this was America.
My shirt says Palestine. They won't let me in the park.
No one cares.
Sir, this is a Wendy's drive.
This is literally, sir, this is a Wendy's.
This is literally Disneyland.
They're not letting me in the park because my shirt says Palestine.
Why would you want to go
Is
in the
that-
park if they won't let you in because
I don't know. Let me give you money.
Why aren't you guys letting me in the park? All right, let's go in the park then.
You know what's absurd is all of the watermelons on Twitter would cancel him for supporting Disney financially anyway. That's on the boycott list because didn't Disney donate money to the IDF?
yeah.
So he's going to get canceled by the watermelons anyway.
I don't know about that, but
And
like,
he thinks that anyone else standing in line in the sun cares about his stupid t-shirt.
there was like comments, there was really bad comments on that trailer about for Captain America that said so they get rid of the scene from the president getting shot but leave in, and then they say some very vile things about Sabra, about the actress playing Sabra,
The Israeli superhero.
the Mossad agent, the Mossad Captain America, their version of Captain America. And I don't know.
This guy is just really cringy.
He's annoying. More than anything, he's just annoying.
Yeah,
right?
he
Like,
got
I
a
don't
little
think-
pushback and just like got out of hand, and then they were like, okay, well now you can't come in because you're being confrontational.
True. I don't think it's fair that you could get denied entry for something like that, but he's so annoying that I don't feel any sympathy for
Well, that's
him.
what I was gonna say. Is like I don't know why they're not letting him in. It doesn't seem right to not let him in. I'm guessing they have plenty of politically motivated shirts and such inside of the park. People wearing shirts like that inside of the park. But how do you have any amount of sympathy for somebody who's that annoying?
He's
And
not
most
doing
people
himself
don't
any
even know that
favors.
that's a Palestinian flag. Like I wouldn't have known if I
Yeah,
just saw
I doubt
someone
that the
walking around.
security guards at Disney know either.
There's a reason I say there's nothing worse than activists. They are the bottom of the barrel to me, and this is just a formidable example of some of the worst type of activism, which is whiny activism. It's not even brave. It's not brave in any way. It's just whiny and annoying.
Well, he recorded it so that he could post it and get people praising him online for taking a heroic stand against discrimination.
A heroic stand by not being allowed into the hyper-capitalist company
Yeah.
that...
Why won't you let me give you money?
Like, I mean, that's literally what it is, right? It's like, if it's true, I don't remember. Can you fact check yourself on that to see if they did give money to the IDF? Like, if that's true,
I'm pretty
why would
sure.
he go inside and spend money on a company that's giving money to
He probably didn't know that. I had to assume. I mean, like for sure, it's
even worse.
wrong
Even
to not
Yeah,
let
the
him
Walt
enter, but-
Disney Company in October last year donated $2 million to organizations providing humanitarian relief to those affected by the conflict. It was made in response to October 7th. $1 million to an affiliate of Red Cross and $1 million to other nonprofit organizations in the region. But I saw people posting about that at the time.
So even worse than whiny activism is uninformed activism, where you're going to then give money to people who are giving to causes you don't support, and then get mad when you can't give money to people who are giving money to causes you don't support.
Yeah. Really cringy.
And then, I mean, it could be seen as a good thing. Look at the amount of people there that just don't care.
Yeah.
Like that's the white pill in this, is look at all the people who are like, bro,
Like he thought he was about to like rouse the crowd and
like-
start an uprising and everyone was going to be on his side.
incredibly
Pitchforks
narcissistic.
raised.
Do you know why? Because
Yeah.
everyone there's like, yeah, I work really hard and I can't afford big trips all year round. So this is like a luxury for us. And we don't give a crap about your political shirt because
you're scaring my kid, bro. Like
He's scaring the hose.
Yeah. We just want
For real.
we just want to give our kids some memories. We don't give a crap about your political cause. That's the white pill in this situation, is that the average everyday person did not, stand up and go, oh yeah.
But I, in response to these two videos going viral, I saw someone tweet, adults who visit Disney without an accompanying child aren't necessarily pedophiles, but there's something fundamentally wrong with them. And another person replied saying, men 18 years or older shouldn't be allowed to go to Disney unaccompanied by children or women. There is zero reason for them to be there.
I mean, I think either blanket that as adults or don't make it gendered at all.
I don't know.
There are enough stories these days of female teachers doing creepy shit with students to make this a not gendered issue. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
No, but the Disney adults in general are emotionally unhinged wrecks. Clearly. Like, we have seen too many examples to deny it anymore.
And to say like, oh, well, they just want to have fun at a theme park and they want to pay money. Disney is not the theme park you go to as an adult to have fun. There's Universal, there's there's Six Flags, there's so many theme parks you could go
better
to.
Ones.
Right. But Disney, it's targeted towards children.
I mean, they're not going there because they want to do adult things. They're going there because they're trying to reconnect to something that mattered to them as children. You know, then we can get into the whole discussion about suspended adolescence and all that stuff. Look, I'm actually just more annoyed that they made it a gendered issue.
There's another TikToker who posted a video of herself ugly crying when she was going up to Cinderella's castle in Magic Kingdom. For that exact reason you just mentioned, like, I'm reliving my childhood, or like I'm healing my inner child by going to Disney alone. And most of the comments were pointing out how cringy that is. But one person said, why do you hate on people just enjoying their life? How does this woman enjoying something she loves hurt anyone? I will never let people enjoy things. I will never just let people enjoy things. And seeing that video personally hurt me.
Yeah. It's like when we were having the discussion about the women in the office, the office TikToks, where the criticism would normally be they're not doing their work and the men are probably working hard, but then when found out that it was them that owned the company, I guess, you know,
let people enjoy things.
Like, well, no, not just that, but like, look, it's their company. They can spend their time at the company however they want, and they probably made a bunch of new sales and got a bunch of new customers after that video went viral. So who am I to tell you that that's wrong, even if I do think it's unbelievably cringy?
No, but if you're ugly crying at Disney without children,
I mean, crying on camera in general
and filming
is
it for TikTok,
especially
a lot
if
nowadays.
You know it's not the real Cinderella, right?
You know Cinderella's not real, right?
There's a lot of videos now that work very hard to mock the people who cry on TikTok.
They deserve it.
Where they show them like setting up the camera and then pausing, doing the millennial pause, and then starting to cry. We had a discussion, I think, on Saturday night about what was worse. The one of the video recently of the lady crying and the guy shows the guy sitting up the tripod, or the woman who takes the mask off and says, I just lost a patient. And I said, I think that one's inherently more nefarious.
Yeah.
The nurse.
Yeah. I think the nurses, the TikTok dancing nurses was more nefarious because it was attached to this idea that they were just letting off steam because there were bodies piling up around them. So there was a politically motivated idea behind it that was so idiotic that it bored. It's almost as idiotic as talking about a clarinet player with a hole in her mask.
And you can't say that our nurse TikTok dances are cringe because we're frontline workers.
Yeah.
So we're morally superior to you.
And wasn't that not even true about the bodies piling up?
Well, yeah.
Anyway,
that was the point.
Okay. Okay.
Let's stop while we're ahead.
Sorry.
We have cringe, right?
Cringe. What do we want to see? Cringe or cute of the day first?
Cringe. Yeah.
Cringe first. Okay. All
this one was really bad.
Yeah. Luckily,
really bad.
Luckily, I saw this one ahead of time, so I've been inoculated. For the rest of you, I am sorry. It's not my fault. Mary picks the cringe today.
I can't.
Tiny, so kawaii. Yum. Ice cream, so good. It's gummy bear, squishy, squashy. Ice cream, so good.
Oh, please turn it off. Turn it off. Get it off the screen.
When you look into the abyss.
That was like
the abyss looks long back into
like an 80s workout video on drugs. Like
it's
on
so
crack.
much worse.
It's so much
I'm
worse.
going straight to cute of the day to get this off screen.
Once again,
goodness.
Men used to go to war. And now they're doing NPC streams on TikTok Live.
Madamus Prime saves us today with this one. My cats, previously featured, have a new best friend. Introducing Dr. Lilith Vegapunk.
That's certainly a unique name.
Puppy.
Very cute. Big paws. Love it.
Cute.
Okay.
You're still
Do we have
processing.
more? I need more.
You had already seen the cringe, but it just
I was forced
shocked you.
to look at it, but Olivia sent that to me like earlier this week, and I watched 2 seconds. Says, nope, no. She's like, you should use this for cringe. I go, nope, not. I wasn't volunteering it. No way. I'm not making people watch that. Mary's the sociopath that will make people watch it. Let's do one more here, guys. Ugh. All right. This is from Booster. It says, so close yet so far.
Aw.
Puppies. Close.
I think it was on purpose. He wanted to splash in the puddle.
I like how he pauses at the top. He's like, wait.
Very cute. Very cute. All right, let's go ahead and get started now that we are 53 minutes into the show.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield is in a new relationship, and the media has been reporting on it. But it happens to be with Hollywood's favorite witch. She is a self-professed professional witch for A-listers in Hollywood, for Fortune 500 companies, CEOs. Her name is Kate Thomas, and she recently did an interview with the Sunday Times to talk about all of the horrific allegations that have recently been sent her way, now in this high-profile relationship with an actor. But in this interview, she talks about spells, seduction, and online trolling. And the reason she's talking about seduction here is because I went on her website and found that she offers what she calls an authentic seduction masterclass. Access your true desires and show up in the world with confidence you envy in others. This is one of the many services she provides. She also does tarot readings, astrology, other things like that. She charges insane amounts
the amounts
for these readings.
Crazy.
So she's doing fine just on her own.
I can respect the hustle. She's a hyper capitalist. It's awesome.
Definitely. But yeah, they mentioned that she has a tattoo that says F politeness. The point being, she explains that, quote, women are socialized to please others over their own safety. I'm absolutely never going to do that.
Well, what I thought was funny was I pointed out, I said, you've told me on a number of occasions that, women tend to be too agreeable and that gets them into trouble in some respects. So I guess this is her way of telling you that that's a bad thing. She's agreeing with you, but putting it on a shirt.
There is no reason that you should ever tattoo the phrase F politeness on your body. It does not contradict my take.
If you saw that on a woman, that wouldn't give you any second thoughts.
Of course it would. It's
be polite to the people you should be polite to.
I know you're playing
and don't
devil's
be
advocate.
polite to the people who don't deserve your politeness.
Is what she's saying that you shouldn't be polite to those people either, or is she just merely making a blanket statement for edginess?
To me, it shows she's very basic.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
extremely basic.
Yeah.
All of these things are very predictable. She is actually conducting this interview from a remote Welsh cottage, which she is selling as a result of her 4th divorce from a non-binary photography producer. She is 42. She identifies as queer, neurodivergent, and disabled. And she has talked previously about being ethically non-monogamous.
Do they actually use the phrase identified as disabled?
Yes. She identifies as disabled.
I already had my meltdown off air. Here's but this is the whole reason this got started is because I made a joke that they did her very dirty in this photo comparison right here. Let me see if I can pull it up full screen. Yeah,
this is her. Okay.
They use like a red carpet photo of him, and then they picked like a. They went out to dinner photo, like screenshot of her.
She's not a looker, okay? I think everyone can tell. And the fact that she, as a 4th-time divorcee, 42-year-old witch, was able to bag a Hollywood A-list actor is perhaps the greatest marketing scheme for her seduction masterclass.
I guess what they're saying here is Andrew Garfield draws the line at 5th-time divorced. He's like, look, I won't marry somebody who's been divorced 5 times.
She's just a hopeless romantic.
That's
what it is.
What it is.
But on a recent episode of her podcast, she talked about all of the attention she's been getting from the media due to this relationship. She said, it's frustrating that no matter how accomplished or impactful a woman is, it's always going to be more interesting if they're in a relationship with a man. I don't want to sit under anybody's shadow.
Before you go on, can I just point out like the lack of creative drive behind this photo? You've got a woman who's a self-proclaimed witch, and it just looks like a photo you would use for any magazine article about any boss girl, Fortune 500. Like, her and the chick from Bumble should not have the same photo type taken when you're taking their photos for their, their magazine profile.
You have lots of criticisms about her photos in general. She needs to get better.
No, this is not about her. This is about the art design. She should be wearing robes, or there should be something mystical here.
She's not selling anything different than the Bumble CEO.
Correct.
She has the exact same product, just in a different packaging. But yeah, she said, I don't want to sit under anybody's shadow.
Well, then don't marry a A-list actor.
If you don't want people to pay attention to you just for the relationship you're in with a man, you probably shouldn't be dating an A-list actor in Hollywood.
It's like the Harry and Meghan worldwide privacy tour.
Exactly. She wants her privacy. Kate Thomas is no stranger to Hollywood and the corridors of power. She calls herself a professional witch and spiritual mentor with powerful intuitive abilities. And her website includes testimony from Lena Dunham saying, Kate has kept me out of catastrophe time and time again. I would die without her.
It's funny because I feel like 10 years ago, the big business CEO who relies on some type of psychic or witch would actually be folksy seeming and kind of irreverent and fun. Now it's just annoying.
It's extremely boilerplate now. She uses tarot cards to structure the information she receives, and she charges $1,500 for a 45-minute reading, which includes 2 full days of WhatsApp messages to unpack her readings. And after that, she asks for a 6-month minimum commitment of $4,000 a month. Magic takes time, she says. It can't happen overnight. And also, her readings are very labor intensive, so she only does 2 to 3 a month.
Well,
because she's making bank on each one.
She wouldn't want to, labor herself.
And for companies, she applies a 6-month minimum plus a success fee reflective of profit, sales, or growth.
It's honestly genius.
She is kind of a marketing genius,
It's genius.
But she says her price tags are a political act. To choose how to charge for your time, specifically as a woman, I could charge $1 million a session, and that would be completely ethical because I'm not exploiting anybody. And she's unapologetic about liking money because I'm a Taurus. I like luxury. I always have.
How have her and Gwyneth Paltrow not spent time together?
I need to see that crossover. Yeah,
because unless it's real,
unless Gwyneth is actually one of her clients.
Did she actually?
Maybe.
So she basically she's the worst type of sociopath, right? Like, she's using her gender as a completely reasonable reason to exploit someone and say that it's not exploitation.
What do you mean?
Right? Well, she turned it into a gendered issue. Read that quote again. Read what she said about being a woman and...
Yeah, to choose how to charge for your time, specifically as a woman. She's saying she deserves to have exorbitant rates for all of her readings and services because she's a woman and she knows the value of her time. And her emotional labor.
Look, I would buy into that argument for strippers and hookers. I don't know if I buy into that argument for...
She is pouring her soul out for these people. And obviously her clientele, aside from the Fortune 500 companies, includes extremely narcissistic and emotionally fraught celebrities in Hollywood who are looking for that type of guidance.
Here's the real problem.
And have the means to afford it.
She calls herself an expert in seduction, but claims that she didn't use that technique to bag her A-list actor.
Kate Thomas, this says Kate Thomas claims it's totally untrue that she used her seduction techniques and magic to bag Andrew Garfield. Here she says on her podcast, the horrific accusations that were leveled at me that I used magic to seduce my partner. True seduction, she teaches, is not about magic spells or manipulation. It's got nothing to do with how perfect your teeth are. but how you conform to conventional standards of beauty. People that are really attractive are full of charisma because they are authentically themselves and confidently anchored in that. So she says that the way she attracted Andrew Garfield was through her confidence, not through magic spells. In her sales pitch for her Authentic Seduction Masterclass, she says, "We've got seduction all wrong. Seduction isn't about showing a stocking-covered thigh. It's about a deep and calm acceptance of the self and prioritization of one's own desires."
It literally, even when it's talking about the act of pulling another person in romantically, women somehow make it about themselves.
Yeah, I don't think that seduction is about self-confidence. It's about desiring someone else, not yourself.
I mean, I don't even disagree with the basic premise of what she said. It's just annoying that it, like, the amount of when the language starts to become that verbose and that hyperbolic in the language, that flowery, I immediately check out, because it's just, I got a creative writing degree in college and a minor in human psychology, and I've turned it into a business model.
But yeah,
there's women like this all over
Like,
Miami.
she could have written dialogue for The Acolyte with language like that.
Judging by her appearance alone, you wouldn't think she would be capable of dating a guy on the level of Andrew Garfield.
But I suppose with that authentic history,
nonetheless,
that authentic confidence means
it's her
that
authentic confidence, and she denounces the horrific accusations of using magic to seduce him.
Even calling the accusations horrific makes me angry.
And
so manipulative.
You guys can go to Kate Thomas's website and read all about her esoteric lineage and how she's gained all of this expertise. She actually is a PhD in Catholic theology and philosophy. I don't know how she got to this point in her life.
I will say that she
is a doctor.
I have made my complaints. She is a brilliant businesswoman who has brilliantly packaged something to sell to rich morons. So
yeah, guys, we're doing the wrong thing.
I will give her that. Okay, she's brilliant at what she does.
Yeah.
I just find the verbose language and the narcissism to be a bit annoying.
She said she grew up with dogmatically atheist parents, but realized that she was an intuitive at around 12 years old when she first realized her abilities.
Let me guess, she's an empath.
She said, "I was experiencing what felt like overwhelming sensorial experiences, extra information about things that other people didn't see, which I now understand as spiritual beings."
Can I just stop you right there? What she just said is, I got emotional sometimes.
Well, I mean, empaths are more emotional than the rest of the population.
But she just used 37 words to describe what could have been said in 10. I got
you can
emotional
somehow
sometimes.
package that into a successful business,
more power to you.
More power to you, except for the fact that I, of course, abhor all forms of divination, astrology, and witchcraft. You know, you got to hand it to her for being able to find clients that are stupid enough to believe this stuff.
I would love to know her. I bet she's got strong opinions on Harry Potter, positive or negative.
Yeah. So her reputation grew by word of mouth, and soon celebrities came knocking. She read for a model agent in the 2000s. She went on to have supermodel clients. Gisele Bündchen, I'm sure, is one of them. Another customer is a PR executive, and corporates also followed, from TV networks to hedge funds. And she decided to stress that she refuses to perform spells for clients. Despite hexing the X being a continual request, her reason is that I don't want the responsibility. I want to empower other people to access their own capacity to change their life. So I train them how to do ritual magic.
Lol, she trains them how to hex
coach.
She trains them how to hex the X rather
She
than do it
says,
herself.
Intuition is a faculty we all have. I don't think of it as supernatural. So this is ultimately just a self-help guru
She's got a
who is
big
selling
picture.
online classes for thousands of dollars, but is really good at using compelling rhetoric and branding and imagery to make people think that she has a gift.
She's got a big poster in her office that says, "Teach a man, like give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man a fish, and feed him for a lifetime."
She admits that dating movie stars comes with a price. The paparazzi will take maybe 150 pictures, and then they choose the 4 where you look the worst.
I will give her that. That was true. They did pick the worst ones.
What's most depressing is the misogynistic nature of that interest. criticism of how a woman looks or what she does for work. On her podcast, she mentions encountering misogyny from other women online.
I was about to say, bro, do you think any dude gives a crap about this? I found this headline mildly interesting, and Mary ran with it when she found the part about the witch. We would never have covered this if it hadn't been for Mary looking into it deeper. I just thought it was funny that they made her look ugly as hell in the photo. Like, it's women that are judging you.
Yeah, she encountered misogyny from other women online. Quote, nothing could prepare me for having literally thousands of women telling me I'm ugly, unattractive, I'm less than in every conceivable way. So in response, she fell back on the practices she teaches, moving out of the victim space and reclaiming your power that has been taken from you.
Okay.
That might be screaming into a pillow, doing a cord cutting spell, or putting a dome of energy like a bell jar over somebody that is actively harmful.
Now this is nefarious.
She says the most powerful form of psychic protection is knowing who you are and being okay with that.
Xanax and water. That's what she's saying.
But yeah, she's gotten glowing reviews from a lot of celebrities. I think Tom Singh was also listed here, Lena Dunham as well.
Mind you, like, didn't a ton of celebrities defend Drake Bell's like abuser? Like, I don't care if a celebrity endorses someone. It doesn't really mean anything to me. But I get, obviously, to other people, that means a lot. And right now she is just taking this opportunity to market so hard.
I suppose it's the subjective nature of satisfied client, right? I guess as long as they leave that meeting in a better headspace than they were when they got there, technically they got what they wanted out of it.
But screaming into a pillow is not a coping mechanism.
But as they say, a fool and his money are easily parted. So,
well, if you get endorsements from successful people, less successful people are going to see that and think, oh, I could be like them. So I guess there are tons of women out there who want to be like Lena Dunham someday. But you know, this kind of flies in the face of Tobey Maguire's recent foray with 20-year-old model Lily Chi. You know, you would think a high-value man would be going for the young, hot chicks, but actually Andrew Garfield is interested in a 42-year-old, 4 times divorced witch.
They must be about the same age. I think I was surprised at
He's 40.
He's
I
like,
Googled it.
Okay.
They remarked on this saying, whatever your view on witchcraft, perhaps Kate Thomas's greatest gift to the world right now is showing that it's possible for a Hollywood actor to date someone his own age.
So your options are 40-year-old witch, 20-year-old model.
Thank you,
Choose
guys.
wisely, guys. How about like a 30-year-old bookkeeper for a company?
Right. That's not exciting.
No.
You know what is exciting? The 42-year-old witch or the hot 20-year-old model?
But the thing is,
No in between.
It doesn't like logic. Just general logic seem to indicate that finding the boring one is actually the one that's going to succeed because it's not hitting the high highs, which are then followed by the low lows.
But they're chasing a thrill.
Yeah.
There's no secret about that.
Or maybe he's just into getting hexed.
Maybe he's into that kind of thing. That's his kink, is getting bewitched.
None of my business. You know, what somebody does in the privacy of their own witch dungeon is their business and not mine.
She has no glam squad or orthodontist, just tons of smarts and soul and 0 F's given.
Actually,
she's a girl boss.
What does this, sorry, what does this have anything to do with an orthodontist? Is that a reference I'm not catching?
She has jacked up teeth.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right.
No offense to her on a personal level.
Well,
but,
she seems to.
You know, she has other qualities that are clearly enrapturing men across the world.
Again,
and if you guys are looking for
a witch,
a personal witch mentor, her services are available.
It's like when so you two will know, but the people watching will not unless they live in this area. There's an ad that plays every time we go to see a movie for a hair salon that is a coven.
Yes.
Like, actually?
Yes.
It's called like a coven.
I don't
salon.
even remember what the name.
A coven is a group of witches.
And they talk about their coven leader, who I guess is just the guy who owns the business.
There are a lot of ways to market magic now, and I'm just perusing her TikTok right now. I'm seeing headlines like magical seduction lotion recipe.
She should get in contact with those ladies from Australia who have the skincare company.
Yeah. Yeah, there's clearly a lot to unpack here, but I hope Andrew Garfield is okay. He doesn't really have a choice to break up with her at this point because he's gonna get the Tom Brady.
What was that movie?
Curse.
Well, they're not married; they're just dating, right? So, what was that movie he did? Silence.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where he got into all this stuff. Is after
Is
doing
that-
Silence, he's found a Catholic theology major and. It's like, hey.
They did hint at him being interested in astrology himself, which for any man is a red flag.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
they're a perfect match.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at his ex-girlfriends and like they were all relatively normal. Emma Stone.
Maybe this is
What
his
do you mean
midlife
normal?
crisis
you mean
girlfriend.
you mean normal as in like
I just
not nutty,
a witch,
but still a celebrity and
yeah.
It's like, hey,
normal.
in between. So there has to be something in between witch and like A-list celebrity. There's got to be a middle ground in there. You know,
I think Andrew Garfield is
30-year-old bookkeeper. I'm telling you right now, 30-year-old lady who does the books for some small company.
When you're in the middle of a midlife crisis,
Buy a Ferrari.
sometimes you know, if you have all the money in the world, you have to date a witch.
Maybe that's what it is. All right, let's go Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy woman, wait, it's Taco Tuesday. Brett, Mary, and Sarah, what are you doing to me? I'm a creature of habit. Is this some witchcraft-ish? I'm confused."
It is technically witchcraft-ish today.
Well, I think we're going to make a habit of having you on Tuesdays instead of Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Sounds like a better plan.
That's kind of the goal.
Okay.
Shane H. Wilder said, YouTube's mad. Y'all want to is it cake the play button? They're trying to protect the play button from us.
That's rude.
Corey Anderson said, I've been married for 18 years. No, I don't track where my wife goes. I have better things to do than be insecure.
There you go.
Interesting.
Good for you.
Do one more.
Bombchis said, my parents and I use Live 360, but the situation is kind of backwards. I'm 34 and my dad is 67 with memory problems.
I mean, then there's a reason for
different,
it. then.
yeah.
That's completely reasonable. All right.
Yeah.
I like have you ever seen the thing that says like Joe Biden's physician saying like you don't have signs of Alzheimer's, and he says I don't remember asking. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about what the hell's going on with Adidas and Bella Hadid.
Adidas has recently found themselves embroiled in yet another controversy. They hired Bella Hadid to be the face of a campaign where they were relaunching old sneakers from the 1972 Olympics in Munich. And that's, I thought, because the Olympics are happening right now. And, you know, Bella Hadid has modeled for them for years in the past. This isn't unprecedented. But in case you guys were unaware, Bella Hadid herself is Palestinian. And the reason why this is relevant is because of the Munich massacre. And that was an incident at the 1972 Olympics in which 11 Israeli athletes were killed by Palestinian terrorists. So after this campaign was launched and the images came out, it immediately drew a lot of ire from, first of all, the official government account of Israel. They tweeted, at Adidas recently launched a new campaign for their shoes to highlight the 1972 Olympics. 11 Israelis were murdered by terrorists during the Munich Olympics. Guess who the face of their campaign is? Bella Hadid, a half-Palestinian model who has a history of spreading anti-Semitism and calling for violence against Israelis and Jews. She and her father frequently promote blood libels and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories against Jews. At Adidas, any comment?
I somehow love the really passive-aggressive any comment. More than any of it, I just skipped right past blood libels and was like, I love the 15-year-old girl ending.
From an official account of a government.
Yeah, it's like, got anything to say about that?
So, I mean, what you said about this is it's funny because of the Kanye of it all. Yeah. Like, their last controversy was getting pressured to fire Kanye and discontinue their affiliation with Yeezy, which they did over the same controversy about anti-Semitism. Right. And now they have found themselves in the crosshairs once again. And they kind of panicked and decided to just put out an apology to literally everyone involved, and it pissed off everyone.
Yeah, when you apologize to everyone, you end up making nobody happy.
Here's their statement. Connections continue to be made to the terrible tragedy that occurred at the Munich Olympics due to our recent SL72 campaign. These connections are not meant, and we apologize for any upset or distress caused to communities around the world. We made an unintentional mistake. We also apologize to our partners, Bella Hadid, ASAP Nast, and others for any negative impact on them, and we are revising the campaign. But it's interesting because they actually relaunched the same exact shoe last year and in 2022 as well, but it only caught fire this year because of Bella Hadid's affiliation with it and being the face of it. Because she is Palestinian. She's very vocally pro-Palestine and has posted about that more since October 7th, obviously. Her family has a personal history there. So that was really what got people angry. But it is ironic after they cut ties with Kanye to end up in this situation again. And no PR executive somewhere in the boardroom thought, maybe we should think about this a little bit harder before we put this out.
It feels like they set her up.
They set her up for this.
You asked me about the morality of it, when we were talking about what happened to Bella Hadid in this situation. I said, I'm not here to make a moral judgment. I'm here to ask how the hell a company of that size that likely has thousands of employees who are paid to do things, how did nobody, at least, maybe it's a failure of the underclassmen of the company who just didn't have the wherewithal to be the one to speak up and maybe be the hero of the situation. That maybe isn't the best idea.
Well, we asked the same question during the Balenciaga scandal with the child models holding the bondage gear teddy bears and the weird court documents. And we thought, how could this possibly go through so many, probably thousands of eyes and get greenlit?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Nonetheless,
it happens.
That one, I think we all understand that was intentional.
Yeah, definitely.
This one, not so much. And then, there was also comments when TMZ was talking about it, they were pulling back to the fact that the company Adidas has ties all the way back to the Nazis, meaning that all three members that formed the company were part of the Nazi Party.
So you'd think they would have a special attention and care
history,
to avoiding controversies of this specific nature, but apparently not. And now in response, Bella Hadid feels slighted because obviously she could not have seen this controversy coming from a mile away.
And you said we listened to a video of Candace Owens did a deep background on the Hadid family and their connections to all this. That was very, very interesting.
Yeah, her ancestry in Palestine was there for thousands of years, and she talked about how Bella Hadid's grandmother took in Jewish refugees after the Second World War, and then 2 years after that, at least what was reported, is that Bella Hadid's grandmother was kicked out of her own home by that refugee family, and she was made into a refugee with her 9-day-old son, who is Bella Hadid's father.
Oh, wow.
And they were raised in LA, and then that's kind of a riches to rags to riches story.
And my point is, with all cases like this, it spans continents, really, in a lot of ways. So
and millennia.
Globalism is a fool's errand, and you're going to run into these problems more and more frequently as different parts of the world, which have different views on their own history, bump up next to each other in business, and it just proves to you.
Not to cut you off, but I was just going to say, if you happen to be born a controversial race, what are you supposed to do? As someone who was born Iranian, Iran obviously has always been controversial.
Yeah, it's all
you
your
don't know
fault,
how people. Yeah, exactly. So it's I'm just kind of putting myself in her shoes of you were born Palestinian and therefore you have to have an opinion, and your opinion will never be right to everyone. It's always going to be somewhat wrong to some people. You're going to piss people off with your opinion no matter what. But at the same time, she is a famous model, and that's why you don't share your political opinions, because it can't interfere with your career. So you kind of got to choose. But I do feel like they kind of backed her into a corner.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the take that I have most of the time. But we were just talking yesterday about baseball players doing a Trump celebration when they're out there. The fact of the matter is, we live in a world now where you have instant access to people that you never had instant access to before. And people were a lot happier when their celebrities were blank slates that they didn't see as supportive of one cause or another.
And because of internet activism, you're expected now to be infinitely aware of every geopolitical event and every person's
That's the worst part.
personal opinions and all of their personal
The fact that we even know
histories.
that she's half Palestinian, like,
Yeah, I mean, that alone is something you can't expect people to know off the bat. And also, I'm sure there are a lot of people who weren't aware of the Munich massacre to begin with. I only knew that they made a movie about it.
Yeah, I never. It's one of those movies I never saw, and I think
Steven
I might watch it.
Spielberg put out
it's
the
from
Munich-
1972, right?
The movie was from
Olympics.
2005. It was
Yeah.
a Steven Spielberg movie, and it's just one of those ones I passed over on. So I might have to go and watch that now because I had not seen it.
But again, a lot of people just weren't aware of this. And I'm guessing that a lot of people in the Adidas boardroom were also not aware of this when they put out the campaign.
They were also pointing out that Bella Hadid is like synonymous with Adidas and that she's one of their biggest, not just one of their biggest spokesmodels, but she's a very big fan of the product.
You said that they apologized and people were pissed about it.
Yeah,
they tried to apologize to everyone, and when they apologized to Bella Hadid because of what the bad press. They apologized to the Jewish organizations that complained because it was bad optics. It was bad optics all around. Bad optics that could have been fixed very easily.
Yeah.
It's not like you only have one model, right? There's got to be one model with a less controversial,
I mean, I think that would be blatant discrimination, though. That would be illegal if they decided not to hire her for her ethnicity. That's illegal. I mean, which is now why Bella Hadid believes she has legal grounds to sue them, and she's putting together a legal team to sue Adidas right now.
Give her a different campaign then, right? Like you're not advertising one shoe at a time. You're Adidas. You're advertising tons of products.
Doesn't matter if she can prove that she was either not hired or fired based on her ethnicity. She can definitely win.
Which is why she lost the job.
Excuse me.
She lost the job.
Maybe, but she's not fired as somebody who works for Adidas. She's just not given that campaign, meaning that you give that campaign to another model that you already employ.
Too late.
You mean like beforehand?
No, I'm talking beforehand. I'm fantasy booking how they could have fixed this from the very beginning.
It is illegal to specifically not hire someone based on ethnicity.
Am I supposed to buy that there's only one model in the world that can do this, and then they're going to not hire her based on that?
She is literally the most famous one and has worked with them in the past.
But being that famous and the complications that come with it make you have to ask the question, is her level of fame worth the level of scrutiny that will come from an obviously contradictory ad campaign because of where she is? You could have hired any other model there.
Honestly, I don't think it even is contradictory. I don't think that it has anything to do with her ethnicity
It was always going to upset someone.
Then in that case, push ahead and don't apologize and don't discontinue the campaign.
Yeah, and don't say that she represents every single Palestinian.
I'm just saying that hire a different, like, I don't think, I don't know what her contract is, but I highly doubt that her contract speaks specifically to one specific campaign. It's that they use her as a model for various products. You use her as a model for another product. You use another model for this one. I don't see that as, she's not being fired. She's just not being given one specific campaign unless it was in the contract, that exact marketing campaign, then I don't see how that's illegal.
Yeah. As for her lawsuit, sources familiar with the situation told TMZ that Bella Hadid has retained lawyers to take action against Adidas for their public lack of accountability, basically saying that she feels they spearheaded a cruel and damaging campaign. She's upset the company would put out a campaign that would associate anyone with a tragedy like the Munich massacre with violence running in contrast to Bella Hadid's own views. And we're told Bella is still under contract with Adidas despite earlier reports saying that they dropped her.
I do believe that the way in which they screwed it up is right, is ripe to be criticized, right? Like at this point now, Adidas fucked it all up. My point was like they could have hired somebody else before all of this got started and avoided the whole thing. She's not the only person who models for Adidas.
Well, similarly with the way they dropped Kanye and, cut off all affiliation with Yeezy, I still hate the idea that corporations have ethics and morals, and that they're not just constantly thinking about the bottom line.
But part of the bottom line, unfortunately, in globalist media and globalist, when you're selling products like this, is you have to take various interests in various groups into account. And right now, they just happen to accidentally run headlong into something that could have been easily avoided with a little bit more care.
Well, what do you do when one of the most famous models is accidentally political?
You get the second most famous model?
Yeah.
Gigi Hadid?
The point being that, like, I'm not saying I'm not saying you fire.
Well, it's just funny because it's their morals, right? It's their ethics and their bottom line clashing.
I'm not saying you fire Bella Hadid. I'm saying you use her for the 1973 Olympic shoe, right? Or the 1971 Olympic shoe.
Erase the 2 and replace it with a 3.
Yeah, it's like hiring Osama bin Laden's daughter to advertise for something on 9/11. I don't know. You don't do it.
Americans would love that.
They would.
You got to be honest.
like, doesn't he have a daughter that's like a model or something like that?
She's something, yeah.
But,
I've heard of her, yeah.
Yeah, like you don't hire her.
But look, that is illegal. I'm just saying the fact is that's illegal.
Not hiring somebody is
based on their ethnicity. If they could argue in a court of law that they chose to discontinue it based on her public statements about Palestine, then you would have an argument. But if it were based on her ethnicity, that is illegal.
How dare they? How do they not just say we just hired somebody else? Unless there's internal memos that say these statements are problematic. This her lineage is problematic. Therefore, we don't hire her. If there are no internal memos like that, you say, "Well, we hired somebody else."
Well, that's what would be uncovered in a lawsuit. Yeah. But probably what's going to happen is they're going to give her a giant settlement.
Or they do what you always do, what Hollywood always does in these situations: say it's subjective. They say the hiring process is subjective. We just hired who we thought was the best candidate for this ad campaign. How do they prove that wrong?
Yeah, I also have never seen evidence Bella Hadid has spread blood libels or hatred against Israel or against Jews in general. I've only seen that she is pro-Palestine, which if you want to interpret it that way, then fine, but that's not objectively the reality. She just is Palestinian and very closely connected to it. I'm sure she still has family there. So I understand why she would feel strongly about it. I don't like when, models and actresses and celebrities in general make political statements, but I do understand. Like, there's not an excuse, there's an explanation. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Super Chats. Shane H. Wilder said, Deadpool Wolverine is trying way too hard. They just showed off gaming controllers in their suit colors with the backs shaped like their asses.
That's not trying too hard. That's just market integration. It is funny. So people were making jokes. It's a Deadpool. It's a red Deadpool controller, and it's got like basically the back of the controller is his ass where your hands sit, and it comes off. It can be removed. But I was like, now do Tomb Raider.
What about the mouse pads that have the anime girl ass on it? They could do that for Deadpool.
I was like, literally now do any female character as the back of a controller, as an ass in the back of a controller. I dare you.
Did you see the popcorn bucket for the movie? It's literally just Wolverine soy facing.
Yep.
Very fitting. Pop Culture Junkie said, just looked at yearly U.S. box office since 1929. Inflation adjusted versus elections, no correlations.
I just don't see, I think, I've been talking a lot. I won't go into detail about how, like, one of the problems with Americans in politics is it's just very hard to live in America's so large that stuff flies under the radar all the time politically because the average American isn't paying super close attention to it. And that's how they get so much by you. That's how politics has gotten as corrupt as it has, is because there's very little checks against it, because a country of this size just has a lot of people that aren't paying very, very close attention. So a lot of things fly by. And so people are going to see movies. They're not, thinking about elections.
Mike Alvarado's TBE said, what if in 20 years we get president candidates of Destiny running for Democrats and Logan Paul running for Republicans?
I mean, I hope by that point, it's just not a two-party system anymore. Right? Like, I hope that there just
Who would you vote for?
I would vote for Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Yes, I would vote for Logan Paul. But I'm just saying, I hope by that point he's just Logan Paul, and you're not voting for lame party politics.
What do you want? Suicide Force guy or polyamory guy?
I'm going to say that Suicide Force guy has the slightly younger and dumber excuse.
Yeah.
And he's into combat sports, which means he at least holds himself a
Higher
little bit more,
be more respectable.
higher testosterone levels, and holds himself to account more than, you know. I won't actually make my destiny. Just no.
Okay. Corey Anderson said there are better facials women can get that don't involve babies.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are. Shane H. Wilder said, how long until they go full Elizabeth Bathory? I'm not sure I understand the reference.
Me neither.
The Rumbling said it would be more helpful to watch the Loki show with the TVA to understand the new Deadpool movie.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that right now, though. But I might watch...
this is what I hate, is the homework.
I might watch Logan again.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
Homework?
Look,
like hours and hours
refuse-
upon hours of homework
I
to understand a
understand-
movie that's supposed to be lighthearted.
I understand the point, but I gave up. I liked Hawkeye. I enjoyed Hawkeye. All the Marvel TV shows that I enjoyed are from years and years ago. They're not Disney Plus shows. I don't care about Loki. I don't care about Agatha. I don't care about any of the shows that they made. They just don't interest me. I was actually excited for Secret Invasion and then just never watched it because I lost all interest. And that ended up being one of the worst reviewed of all of them. So I don't think I'm missing out on much.
W. Nanners said, so the Disney rash is a sunburn?
Yeah. The best thing that Marvel could do is to detach the television shows from the movies. Go back to the old formula.
It's far too late for that now.
I mean, no, it isn't. They could easily detach it and just stop referencing it. They used to be different, right? Like there would be like winks and nods at like the Marvel Netflix shows or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they weren't all interconnected. People just don't want to do the homework. I don't want to have to watch 8 episodes of your garbage, barely edited, 72-minute long gratuitous slop just to watch your 2-hour gratuitously overlong movie, okay?
Well, what if the TV shows were good? Would you be okay with them connecting the TV shows and the movies then?
Well, you know, on whatever planet that's happening on, sure, but just no.
It's a big what if.
Let's do one more.
The Rumbling said women are having a hippo summit at Disney.
Oh, that was rough. Oof. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the ladies and what they're doing to their men with these GPS monitors.
Yeah, there is a new and disturbing trend of wives and girlfriends tracking their husbands or boyfriends with GPS trackers, inconspicuously hiding these trackers in their cars, in their clothing. First off, I saw a video of a woman sewing an AirTag into her husband's gym sneakers. So let's take a look at that.
All right, hold on 1 second. Let's pull this up here. The gym sneaker one first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go, guys. Perfectly rational behavior. It says, tracking my husband with AirTag. So she put it in the logo. If you're watching or if you're listening to the podcast, it's a Nike running shoe, and she sewed it into the label on the front.
Very intricately. He'll never know. He'll never find out.
I mean, I actually don't know about that. Like, you have to like pull the tag up. Like when you
he's gonna notice
when you put the shoes on, right? Like you pull the tag up to make sure that it's up all the way. He's gonna pull the right one, and it's gonna be completely squishy.
The experts know you hide it in the rubber sole, not the.
She learns to be a cobbler just to do this. So there it is. She's put it in there, perfectly normal. Or what's gonna happen is he's an obsessive runner, and he keeps track of like his stride length, and he's gonna notice that his left shoe is a little heavier.
Some of the comments say trust issues, probably divorced within 6 months. Here are 3 options. She's doing it for likes on social media and the husband knows, or she's obsessed, or her husband really did something to break her trust, so now she is tracking him. Another one said, if you need to do this, you married the wrong one. Get a divorce. If you can't trust your partner, it's time to move on.
That's literally a Chris Rock bit where he talks about getting caught cheating. and then says, if she says she wants to end it, run. Because by the time you get to the door, she's like, wait, let's work it out. And he says, what is working? And then basically goes, she's getting you a cell phone, a beeper, a pay. Like, she lists all the ways in which she's going to work to keep track of you forever. And that's in 1996. That was a lot harder than it is now. Well, now she just drops the air tag into your shoe, and she knows where you are anytime, anywhere of any day.
Now, if your husband is up to any nefarious activities in public,
or wife,
a good Samaritan is going to be there to record him unbeknownst to him and post it for the world to see, and eventually you'll find out on your For You page. So from people airing out your personal dirty laundry.
Let's watch this video of the leaf.
Yeah, this is another option. It looks like a leaf, but it's actually a tracking device, and you attach it to your husband's car.
Well, he's going to get in trouble now because it's covering his license plate. Now you just want him to get in trouble.
I mean, there are other ones you can just put under the car and no one will know.
It immediately fell off, though.
Well, it's remote controlled. You can drop it wherever you want.
For what?
So as soon as she catches him doing something wrong, she hits the button so that he can't prove or find it later.
Yeah.
Makes no sense to me.
But I mean, I think that this is a growing conversation about location sharing, because a lot of people say this is far more common in Gen Z relationships where they have a stark lack of actual intimacy, but a corresponding neurosis and unhealthy attachment style, obsessiveness, possessiveness that has not been seen before. And it's seemingly the norm to have the Life 360 app, as one person in the chat mentioned, to location share with your significant other at all times.
Yeah, not even just that. Like, he leaves the house, she sees him on the Ring camera. Where the fuck you going?
Yeah, you've got the Ring cameras and your Alexa recording everything, and you've got the location sharing on.
And then people
times.
are like, why is everybody so uptight these days? Like, I think about it before. Like, so this is something that actually happens a lot. So technically, when I go out and skate, what I'm doing is technically illegal because I'm going to skate on private property, and I'm, if it was a very, very angry business owner, they could theoretically have you prosecuted. Now, that's never happened to me, and most of the time they just say, oh, you can't skate here, can you please leave? In varying levels of anger, right? Sometimes they're very polite, sometimes they're very mean, whatever. But very rarely do you go anywhere now to go skate where there isn't a security camera. That wasn't what it was like when we were skating in our early 20s. Like, you could go to all sorts of businesses and you weren't like, one of the things that I always used to joke about is like when we were filming video profiles, it's like, I want the security camera angle for the section of me landing the trick from the security camera that's there at the business. But now, like, you go to the average business or office park, and the rail out front has 4 cameras on it. 2 on each side. And and that extends outward to all of society now. You're always being watched in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's not just companies that are tracking your location.
It's cameras on the backs of cars. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people, even if it's something embarrassing, when people film someone without their knowledge in public and then post it. I hate that.
Yeah, that's also a disturbing trend that you see more and more.
If you wonder why people are so uptight and nobody feels like they can be themselves anymore and why people are on edge, it's because you live in a fishbowl now and you're being recorded 24/7. You can't get away with anything. And I'm not talking about illegal things. I'm saying you can't act frivolously. You can't act stupid.
You definitely can't dance in public.
Yeah, my dog trainer said that he just had got into like a confrontation with a guy who was recording him with his dogs in a dog park off leash. And the guy was basically like, his dogs are trained very well, and when you have a dog that's done like bite work and stuff, like they're like a loaded weapon. So he was just letting the guy know, like, hey, don't let your dog be left alone with my dogs. And so the guy takes out his phone and starts recording him. And like, how do you be like,
this is
if
a
I
weapon.
didn't consent to you
this
recording
thing is a weapon.
To me, yeah, but you have like no legal action against people who just record you without your consent.
And the laws never catch up to the technology.
Right.
Also,
I just want to know, first off, like, what your takes are on people location sharing? Is it always a sign of an unhealthy relationship, or is it sometimes fine?
It depends. It's a case-by-case thing. In my opinion, I think that your man should have your location at all times for safety. And if you're uncomfortable with that, what are you doing? I think it's weird to track your boyfriend, though, because it's not for his safety. It's just to track him and know where he is, or husband, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
that's my personal opinion.
What if there is a situation where he's, I don't know, he got in a car crash or something, you need to know where he is, right? Like there's always some situation you could come up with in your head that makes it a necessity for safety. But overall, it seems like people are using safety as the excuse when the reality is it's
I
just
know a certain
paranoia.
government that did that post 9/11. I'm just saying, right?
And I saw that
Security.
some years back, GQ published an article by a woman talking about how location sharing is actually healthy for relationships. It's titled, "Location Sharing is Caring When You're in a Relationship." She said, "Recently, I was at a bar with friends and someone asked when my boyfriend was going to show up. Instead of calling or texting, I opened Find My Friends, a GPS tracking app in which you can share and see contacts' locations. And my boyfriend's blue dot on the map showed he was 20 minutes away from us. My friend next to me watched the app, was appalled at this oversharing, but honestly, until then, I really hadn't considered that it might be creepy. In my defense, it wasn't like I forced a stranger to constantly share his whereabouts with me. When my boyfriend and I decided to exchange locations in our long-term relationship, we had clocked several months. We considered the unique cocktail of my anxiety disorder and his frequent work trips and made the decision together." That's suggesting something that's far more about paranoia and not about safety.
It's already a neuroses if she's talking about her anxiety disorder.
Yeah, I frequently check the app to gauge when to meet him. He uses it to perfectly time cracking open a beer before I arrive at his house. We have nothing to hide and don't feel either party abuses the privilege. For others, I've learned location sharing oversteps healthy boundaries. So the excuse is that if you have nothing to hide.
It's literally exactly what every American citizen said right after 9/11 when they talked about the Patriot Act. Like, well, if you've got nothing to hide, you got nothing to worry about.
This is what happens when you get into a relationship with a TSA agent.
This becomes a discussion of fundamental rights. And obviously your relationship to the U.S. government is vastly different than your relationship to an intimate partner, but holy shit if there isn't some parallels there.
Yeah. And I just feel like girls are more inclined to constantly check the app because they tend to be more neurotic versus a guy isn't going to constantly check unless he's worried about you.
Maybe the guys should check more.
Why don't you care where I am at all times of the day?
See, that's even worse. She's like, look, I checked the map like 15 times. Say, you didn't check at all. Do you not care where I am?
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
It's kind of a recipe for disaster.
It's just, it's like life is difficult. You know, making a relationship work, it's a lot of work, right? It's making a relationship happen is a lot of work. And to add unnecessary, hurdles that don't need to be there, especially with in a case of somebody with high anxiety, highly neurotic, it's asking for trouble. And I don't know.
Yeah, you don't want to know everything about your partner. Like, that is like probably the best advice I've ever gotten. Also, I mean, if you're doing it without their consent behind their back,
well, that's even
you're the problem.
That's way different.
That's it. That's
just to clarify that. But like, even if
there's more nuance to the sharing about choosing to share them.
I don't think it's masculine for a man to say that I want you to have my location at all times. That's the issue.
Something that's a little bit weird to you about that?
I mean, why does he want me to have it?
If I get in a fiery car crash and die, I'm going to need you to just suck it up. Because like...
Yeah, no, I mean, 10 years ago, that's what would happen.
I mean...
Life is about like mystery to an extent, at least.
I mean, longer than 10 years ago now. This stuff's been going on at least that long.
Yeah.
It's totally different if we're talking about like tracking the location of your kids, obviously. Like that's totally different. Family members... But people are talking about this as essentially a rite of passage in any committed relationship these days. Like if you're not location sharing, then I guess your relationship is really built on a foundation of sand, and but in reality, it might just mean that you have more trust than the couple who is location sharing.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But this is
right?
being seen as a legitimate rite of passage, and I've seen it enough times that it seems like this is a uniquely Gen Z dating problem.
Is it weird for me to feel like there's like a difference between doing this while married and like somehow it feels less weird to do it while married than it does when you're just dating? Like if you're boyfriend and girlfriend, it's weird. If you get married, there's, you know, like, or if like you have kids now I feel like there's room there to make it seem less insane. Like now you're operating as a unit together and it just makes sense. Whereas when you're in the dating stage, it actually is about learning to trust one another and come together.
More importantly, big tech companies are tracking your location and your thoughts even constantly. So you should feel like your privacy is being invaded at all times. Yeah. If you give thought to that
I would say this
aspect.
is always a bad idea because I feel like it will always end up being used as a point of neuroses once you could be, here's the thing, you could be having a fight about something completely different and this could just be a tipping point for that.
And why were you at the Denny's for 3 hours the other day? Who were you talking to?
I sent you the video yesterday of Stormy G where she's like, well, remember when you looked in his phone, he had 5 numbers listed as mom? That's what it is. And it's
just adding fuel to the fire for future arguments.
Whatever it is, anybody ever says this to me, I'm like, yeah, well, that's what people were saying when the government enacted the Patriot Act. So, you know, who's the bad guy? What do you work for the NSA?
Throwing it back to the Patriot Act.
It all comes back to the freedom fries.
Like, what do you work for the NSA? Is that what you do? Is that why you work so late? It's not, I think you're out cheating. I think you work for an immoral government. That's what it is.
It's not about me.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. I feel like I'm against it, but I'm loath to text anyone. I don't really, I think phone calls and in person is always superior. The idea that you can just be reached at all times, it's kind of anxiety inducing rather than a measure that would make you feel more at peace. Knowing that you're being watched all the time, listened to all the time, that people are trying to reach you all the time is something that's going to disturb your peace, not the other way around.
Yeah, it's just going to add, it's exactly what I was saying. It's like people are more on edge. People are less calm and feel less at peace with their lives because of how much they're watched. And if it's something that's already is hard to master as a good relationship, you're just making it harder on yourselves.
The toxic girlfriend that says, oh, will you let Tim Cook location track you all the time, but not me? Do you like him more than me? Why don't you just marry him? Why don't you just marry Tim Cook? Why don't you just marry Mark Zuckerberg then?
That's exactly what it is.
But overall, I think it's probably just a fake milestone of commitment that Gen Z has attached an importance to because they're so fearful of commitment. Yeah. Like that seems like what it is. When you graduate from the talking stage, that's when you start location sharing.
Oh, you let location sharing on your dog, but not me?
Right.
They like won't label the relationship, but they'll track each other.
Why don't you just chip each other? Just inject chips into your arms and that would be less invasive.
There you go.
I don't know.
I think it's a bad idea. I think in general, somehow in my brain, you've been married for an extended period of time. If you got kids, now you want to make sure everybody's safe. That feels far less nefarious. If you're just dating, it just seems like a recipe.
Because there's an actual commitment there. I almost feel like this is like a psychosis, and it's a symptom of the fact that most relationships nowadays are meaningless, and like so many relationships just come and go, and they're fleeting. People tend to date more nowadays and have more partners and failed relationships than in the past. And a marriage is like, okay, we've dated and we are committed to each other. So if I want to track you, you married me. So that's the psychosis you married, I guess.
Comes with the deal.
I think bad idea, but you're fine to track the kids. You can track the kids. Actually, what the thing is, okay, so I mentioned like there were tons of TV shows that did this about tracking their children and how it was like, oh, look at these parents of the new age trying to figure out how to raise their kids. It would actually be a more interesting episode if it was about a husband and a wife tracking each other.
Secretly?
Yeah. Or
like
just,
a Mr. and Mrs.
Or
Smith.
no, so what would happen is like, it's turned on automatically on your phone and one of them realizes that it's turned on automatically and then starts like that person goes someplace they don't normally go to. It's all a big misunderstanding. And then they try to turn it around on them. They're like, well, why were you tracking my phone? It's like, well, I didn't mean to track your phone. I just realized that we had the feature on here and I logged in and I couldn't stop looking. So then it ends up where they're both in the wrong. This guy lies about where he went. Maybe he was going to get an anniversary gift and he lied about where he was. You know, they could write a scene about that.
Yeah.
And it might actually be mildly thought-provoking, but that might be too much to ask of Hollywood writers.
Well, I'm generally on the same page with you, Brett, that I think it's weird. Unless you're married and have kids, I don't think there's really a necessity because if you really need to know where someone is, they should tell you.
I mean, if like in my situation, like if my boyfriend was like, I want to track you, I would say no. And I would probably not date that person. But me personally, I want
Okay, you have to be the one who brings it up.
like if you're the one who brings it up, it's not weird. But if your
Okay.
boyfriend's enforcing it on you,
I see.
then yes, that's weird.
That's an important distinction.
Yeah.
If he's the one who brings it up, maybe that's a red flag.
Well, it's a sign of deep insecurity right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah. In most cases, like I would say, I mean, with rare exception, maybe it's out of care, but like I would err on the side of he is insecure.
Imagine both of them saying that though. So if a guy says like, look, I want to track your phone. I worry about you. I want to make sure you're safe. Or the girl says like, I track you because I care. Why do you have a problem with that?
It's funny because once you say it in the girl voice, it sounds crazy.
Yeah, that's the point.
I track you because I care about you and your safety.
And he's like, look, it's a dangerous world out there. There's women getting attacked every day in the streets. I just need to know that you're safe. Now, depending on how wild-eyed you are when you make that statement, it could come across as perfectly caring, or it could come across as a dude who's going to chop you up and wear you as a skin suit. Like, totally depends.
And some women are into that.
There you go.
Okay, let's finish up these super chats. Shane H. Wilder said Disney rash for people who only get 2 clicks on rides.
Guys, we're like not even halfway. Let's get to a second crisis point.
Yeah, let's do it.
Come on, guys.
It's about time. What does it mean to get 2 clicks on rides? I don't know. What
Oh, like the bar coming down?
Yeah.
Like, you know how it has to click all the way?
Uh-huh.
Like, imagine.
Oh,
you know,
it doesn't go down all the way.
It don't click. And I would not want to sit next to that person because I would fly out of that seat.
Pop Culture Junkie said, I live in Orlando and know that Disney attendance is down, offering 3-day discounted packages, hotel specials too. No wonder Perlmutter sold his stock.
Yeah, and not just that, but Universal's killing it these days. So.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder said, Mary, can you send me some of that eye bleach? Yeah, no problem. I'll get right on that.
Oh, I forgot.
We need
about
it.
That cringe.
Ice cream, so good. Christina Lee said, I also thought the Joker 2 trailer was very disturbing, how it's glorifying psychotic degenerates. Also, Lady Gaga is a Satanist. Love the show, by the way.
I really didn't see anything all that disturbing. Like movies with bad guys doing bad things. It's not like Arthur Fleck is not necessarily portrayed as a good guy. He's not a protagonist per se.
Is Lady Gaga a Satanist, or is that?
She used to work with, what's that lady? Marina
Abramovic? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they're friends. She's been accused of promoting Satanism. Alex Jones claimed that Lady Gaga's Super Bowl halftime show in 2017 was a satanic ritual. Okay. I mean, that's not too hard to believe. Tao said, was that TikTok Brett's doppelganger? Please be true.
I don't know which TikTok they're talking about.
That could mean something very bad.
If you mean the cringe of the day, I hate you.
Did you look like that guy?
No.
Wait, pull it up
Not
again.
even
Let's
I
fact check
already
this.
deleted that shit off this computer.
Yeah, I don't ever
so
want
fast.
Or was it the obese Disney influencer?
I think it was the skin tight bodysuit he was wearing that reminded
Must
him of
have
you,
been.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. You do wear those often.
Yeah.
Rhaegar Targaryen said, I got here at 12:53 PST and the chat summary states, viewers are discussing Brett's recent appearance on a live stream, describing it as gay and cringe.
That's not what happened.
That's exactly what happened. You can't argue with the AI summary.
I can't.
Barrett said, please shout out Creekside Antiques in DT Martinsburg is having a free swap meet this Saturday, 7/28, 2 blocks from Cast Brew location. Great deals for all.
Well, that sounds fun. Free swap meet.
Yeah. Rhaegar Targaryen said, without context, the last super chat sounds like human trafficking. That's not what swap meet means. Shane H. Wilder said, you're a Taurus? I'm more of a Nissan man myself.
It's true.
Rhaegar Targaryen said there is a running gag that people with advanced degrees in theology become atheists by graduation, but it's usually Protestants. Example, Bart Ehrman.
Well, okay then.
Interesting.
Should we start my big issue now with college more than anything is just the amount of how easy it would be when you get one of these degrees to ask, how will you make money doing this? So now Catholic theology lady found a way to do that. She turned it into a weird witch job. Okay,
her weird witch job has nothing to do with her doctorate.
But I guarantee you that her background and knowledge in it helps her ability to write and her ability to...
Here's what I wanted to ask you guys. Who is the bigger grifter? TikTok witch lady who's dating Andrew Garfield, or the woman who hosts female rage rituals in the woods? Who's the bigger grifter?
I don't even know if you can technically call female witch lady a grifter. If people are satisfied with the product, technically she's not grifting them. It's just really, really innocuous and hard to describe.
The women going to the rage rituals also are satisfied with the product.
I don't know. To call her a grifter would be to insinuate that she doesn't believe in what she's doing, right? Does that mean I can't know that? This is why I never apply the term grifter. I don't know how nuts this lady is. Maybe she does believe.
Maybe she truly believes in what she's doing.
I don't freaking know. Would I put money on that? No.
It definitely sounds like she doesn't believe there's anything supernatural about it and is just very good at marketing.
But if you calling that grifting, I don't know. If somebody leaves with happy with the product that they got.
I guess for the sake of giving you an answer, I would go with the witch woman, because now that the spotlight is on her, she is using words like victim. And that seems like a grift. That seems like she knows what she's doing and she's marketing herself, versus the other woman who's just, I don't know, screaming
beating
women
sticks on the ground
or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what it is? They're all just...
But we can't ever know.
If I was a leftist, I'd say they're not grifters, they're capitalists, and they're just selling you a product, and that's perfectly... Well, they wouldn't say that's perfectly fine. I would say that that's perfectly fine. Like I said, a fool and his money are easily parted, and if somebody wants to spend their money on it, well, the libertarian perspective would say that there should be no government regulation on weird witch ladies selling you the ability to learn how to make a potion or do spells to hex the X. Who the hell am I to say you shouldn't sell that knowledge?
So
you're
just
spreading fake news. She doesn't hex X's. She just teaches you.
No, that's what I just said. I said, who am I to say that she shouldn't spread the knowledge on how to hex your X?
Yeah.
Hell, she even added a clause for more pay if stuff came true.
I appreciate the honesty, which is that she just likes money.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, Catholic theology PhD from University of Phoenix. Well, it was actually Oxford, so I'm sure she got good education there. Yep. She just is using it for evil. The ninja from Pop Culture Planet said witches are just narcissistic feminists. Yeah, witchcraft is actually a huge part of, the origin story of what we now know as feminism. Corey Anderson.
How so? They're connected somehow?
Yeah, especially female goddess worship.
Okay.
Is a huge part of some of the founding mothers of feminism, if you will call them that.
Yeah.
Corey Anderson said, my guess is the witch gives brain-like generous zombie. The only way she is pulling any dude, the hair, the face, I don't see it. Well, she said it herself. It's her confidence. It's her charisma.
Yeah.
And the fact that she accepts herself. It's self-love, really. that's so attractive.
What it is.
That's the most attractive quality.
That was the worst part of all of that, was like turning witch malarkey into some, expose about self-love and what just basically amounts to severe narcissism.
Yeah. I would love to talk to her. I mean, she's probably got a lot of stories about all of her celebrity clients. NDAs, I'm sure.
I'm sure that there is a spell that gets cast if she breaks the NDA. I'm sure there's some type of hex that befalls her if she breaks the NDA.
Rhaegar Targaryen said witches, the cat ladies of feminists. What? She actually did have a cat that they mentioned in the article named Rune.
I thought the joke was that all feminists were cat ladies.
Wait, is Andrew Garfield good? Is he okay?
Is he okay?
Andrew Garfield?
I'm sure he's okay.
I don't know. He might be under a spell. Surenko Productions said, why is there a controversy about Bella? She's modeled for Adidas for years, even before October 7th. It's not like she killed the people in Munich.
The point is that she supports Palestinian causes and champions Palestine because she is half Palestinian, and that was a problem to certain organizations. Again, globalism, sham, doesn't work. Gonna cause problems each and every time.
Yeah, I just don't feel like she was in the wrong.
No,
that's
what
I'm
I'm saying.
She didn't deserve the hate.
The point is, she didn't do anything wrong. It's just the fact that globalism pushes people up against each other that would not normally.
Yeah. Maybe this is why the Olympics is going to continue causing controversy.
Oh, yeah,
because you're
absolutely.
just clashing cultures together and hoping for the best.
That worked back in the day when everyone's thoughts and feelings on an issue weren't everywhere online for the whole world to see.
Red Snow said, almost forgot. Praise be to Space King.
I also think I read earlier that that Team USA basketball barely beat South Sudan or something, 101 to 100. That's crazy.
Shane H. Wilder said, Countess Bathory bathed in blood to look young. Oh.
Countess who?
Bathory. I think it was Elizabeth Bathory. I've never heard of that. I guess that guy, Brian, whatever his name is.
Well, I guess if you bathe in blood, Bathory is a great last name.
Yeah. Pat the Plumber said, you talked about boobs on YouTube and it got taken down the next day. Coincidence?
What?
I don't know what you're talking about. Did we talk about boobs yesterday?
No, we didn't take anything down from yesterday.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I hope not. Ulvin McGoth said Elizabeth would bathe in the blood of her virgin maids.
McGoth is a great last name, by the way.
That
McGoth
sounds like a fake name, but
I like it.
Yeah, that sounds a lot like the adrenochrome conspiracy theory, which we disavow. Joy W said, hello, tired. Thanks, PCC Monday crew.
Well, it's Tuesday, but thank you.
It's the Tuesday crew, but
thank you for gaslighting.
Yes. You're welcome.
Guys, we're like a little under 3/4 of the way to that second crisis party. I'm just saying. For no reason whatsoever am I making that statement.
I'm going to be out of town, so I'm not going to be on the show next Tuesday.
Yeah, you can't.
Will be missed.
You wouldn't send Sarah out of town with just one crisis party, would you?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Surenko Productions said, you have your location on because of your neurotic possessive girlfriend. I have it on because I watch true crime. We are not the same.
Good point.
Yeah, I think maybe true crime is the unsung hero in that story. Maybe it's women.
Hero is not the word.
Okay, villain.
Villain.
Like Gen Z women's obsession with true crime is making them think that they're going to be brutally murdered every time they leave the house.
I know that this is callous sounding, but I always fall back on my same statement that I make about airplanes. Like, I'm not lucky enough to die in such an interesting way.
Well, aren't you more likely to be murdered than die in an airplane crash?
By like a prolific serial killer? I have no idea.
Prince Elian said it's always wise to track thoughts. They're trouble.
Also, like you point out, like however many people die every year, this is a country of 350 million people. Just to put the odds into perspective, that there's a lot of people here. You know.
Rhaegar Targaryen said there's a Joker 2. Why?
It's a very good question.
Because Joker 1 made too much money to.
It's also a
not
rhetorical question.
make a second Joker.
$1 billion on a $55 million budget is.
I just don't understand why you would triple the budget of the first movie when it looks the same.
Let me double check.
It's not that it looks the same in a bad way. It looks great. It just doesn't look like it should cost
$200 million.
Doesn't look like it should
How
cost
much did
anywhere
they
near
pay
that.
Lady Gaga, though?
That's crazy.
Because I
mean,
bet
it's-
a big
you
part
never
of that
get
is her salary.
You never get like for sure numbers on that stuff because it might have to do with box office. She might take a larger chunk if it does better at the box office. There's all sorts of incentives that usually get written into those contracts. So a base salary is usually not the most indicative thing of what actually they're going to make.
I don't know who's going to enforce this, but there should be some kind of rule that you can't go over double the budget of the first movie when you're making the sequel.
I agree. Says that she's making she's going to earn $12 million for her role.
I totally forgot that
Oh yeah,
I wore this today.
Yeah, we had a
I tracked
prop. We
myself,
forgot about
bro.
it. You have a scrunchie that has a pocket
so
inside.
When I go on hikes, so actually my boyfriend doesn't have an iPhone, so he doesn't have my location, but my sister does. But this is a smudgy, and I don't get money
Shout
for
out
like
to
advertising this.
Smudgy.
But if you or someone you care about wants to go on a hike, these have pockets, and you can slip an air tag in there and use that as your hair tie. Yeah, and I highly recommend if you're ever going hiking. There's a lot of bears out there.
Okay.
So if you get attacked by a bear, at least people will know where to find your body.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're choosing the man, not the bear.
I am choosing the man. If he could have my location, he would.
Big Dave said Frankie's feeling better. New PCC pets to follow. Great show today.
Thank you. And I'm glad
Looking forward
that
to
Frankie's
it.
feeling better.
Shane H. Wilder said Brett closes the cringe and purges the browser history.
Yeah. Yeah.
Omega Red fan said I liked Andrew in the Facebook movie Social Network. That was a good movie.
Oh yeah,
I love that movie. DCNC said this fool and his money is easily parted.
Thank you, DCNC.
Nice.
This fool
like
as in you. Okay. I keck, therefore I meme, said the show Man Up has an episode about tracking fam.
Okay. All right.
Man Up? That's what it's called?
Okay.
Okay. Pat the Plumber said breastfeeding. Oh, okay. Yeah. We were talking about the breastfeeding tutorials
Oh, yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
What? We didn't get taken down.
Maybe their channels got taken down? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we got any kind of trouble from YouTube over that. Corey Anderson said, any of you closer to getting married yet?
That is a very personal question.
Incredibly personal.
Yeah.
I will field that question from family members.
Yeah.
if my dad were to ask or my brother were to ask, I will answer them.
Yeah. Maybe someone who's entitled to the answer should ask. Miss Ray said, I get lost a lot, so I share my location with trusted people.
It was like the most wholesome thing I've ever read. In my entire life.
Yeah. Are you okay? We have Apple Maps now, though. You know, you can...
I still maintain that the biggest issue, one of the worst things to happen to Gen Z and certainly younger millennials is just the introduction of Apple Maps and Google Maps and how much differently you drive now because your brain is, you use your brain completely differently. You use your eyes completely differently. I would argue that probably more people drive in an almost passive sense of zombieism now rather than actually physically paying attention to what they're doing because they're just listening
That's
for
literally
their limbic trigger to go off when when it's like turn in.
I have never driven without a smartphone. Like I've never driven anywhere new without directions.
When you have to actively pay attention to where you're going to get somewhere, you remember how to get there much better the second time around. Whereas now there are people like I've had friends who they still use the map to get to the same place hundreds of times. Like they just turn it just to feel safe. And it's crazy, right? Like you just use your brain differently, or it's even in a way it's been a substitute for being able to delineate time more accurately. So it's like, how am I going to know I'm going to make it on time if I don't have the little bar that says I'm going to make it by 4:45? Right? Whereas before you had to act like, what time do I have to leave? I have to leave at this time. Then you have to look at your clock. Then you have to look at, how far you are, and gauge that. Now you just have an app telling you that is true. And I think that actually does damage to our critical thinking skills, or at least our fine motor skills in a lot of ways. We're not actually watching the road the way we should, or paying attention and driving as cognizantly as we should be.
Yeah, the idea of driving in an age without smartphones, without GPS apps, to me is inconceivable, because obviously that just wasn't my experience. The fact that you did that is genuinely impressive to me. I know that I don't have the directional skills to do it.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I would end up dead in a ditch somewhere if I tried.
I have like one memory of me driving with my mom. She was driving and I was a kid, and we had printed out like Yahoo Maps directions.
Yeah.
And we were like an hour late to wherever we were supposed to be. So I don't think it's even necessarily a skill. I think people were just so used to like trial and error, and
Yes.
Well, no, you actively
learn,
like
maybe,
when it says
like,
you to take a right on Beach Street, you actively looked at every street you passed. And
I never
until
looked
you
at
saw
the street names.
We got a 20 from Darth Doza for the crisis party. Thank you.
Thank you. Like, you actively looked at the streets, and then you turned when you saw it. Now you're like, when is the lady voice on the phone gonna tell me when to turn?
Dude, I could not name more than one street in my neighborhood.
Really?
Because I've just never paid attention. I've never had to.
Yep.
It's an interesting point.
We're all dumb now.
Smartphones have made us all very dumb in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like when I was back in Minnesota, I can drive all the places that I used to without the phone, because I spent so long driving around there without it. But I bet you if I came back here after 10 years and tried to drive without the maps on, I would still at least need a little bit of help.
I mean, I definitely know where I'm going if it's a place I go a ton of times.
Yeah.
But if it's a new place, I would never risk it. Big Dave sent us $1 without a message. Thank you.
Thanks, Big Dave.
Thank you.
Rhaegar Targaryen said Bathory was the big bad in Castlevania Nocturne on Netflix, where she is revealed to have survived the French Revolution.
Okay.
Would you recommend? Bookstore Thor said, I'm irritated that the Joker 2 trailer captions say Sinatra is singing when it's clearly Nat King Cole. SMH. Great show, guys. I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't looking at the captions. DCNC said, Brett, watch Cube 1997, please.
I've got a list of movies I need to watch. I think I might try to watch Munich this weekend. It was only on Amazon Prime for rent or buy, and I don't jive with that.
Is Cube on your list?
That wasn't on my list, but I can add it to the list.
And Rhaegar Targaryen said they should remake Cube, but with Ice Cube.
Okay, well that sounds perfect. All right, well we did get to the second crisis party. My guess is that it will go off before we finish the outro. So before we get going, guys, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. That way you don't need your phone's map program to direct you back to our channel. You can just hit the like button, turn the notification bell on, so that way they'll just send you push notifications every time a new segment or a new episode goes live. Thank y'all for that. Sarah, thank you.
Thank you guys. Cast Brew Coffee on Twitter, CastBrew_coffee on Instagram. Thank you guys.
It did the thing. I think you lowered your seat where like now you have like all the headroom that I was complaining about on the Joe.
Did
I was so when I was watching recent Joe Rogan episodes. I'm like, why is there just a foot of headroom on all of the shots? It was driving me nuts, and I did that today. So
I'm sorry,
that's
I'm not
okay.
taller, Brett.
It's okay. Mary, we got some.
We
super
got a
chats
few
there.
more. The Rumbling said I used the map to race the time to destination. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Potatoes for Seamus said Mary knows all the ways to Wad House and Taco Bell.
I think you meant Waffle House.
Oh, okay. Shane H. Wilder said Bathory was also a real Hungarian countess.
Okay.
But did she really bathe in blood?
So I was when I finished watching that, The Librarian and the Curse of the Judas Chalice, and Stana Katic does the worst Russian accent. I think it's supposed to be Russian. It's the worst. It's weird because I watched other episodes of her on other TV shows later, and she does a perfectly serviceable Russian accent. Maybe she was trying to do one that was indicative of another period of time because she plays like a 400-year-old vampire. So maybe she was just speaking in an accent that I just didn't understand, but just sounded really, really bad.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's like Transylvanian, right?
Yeah.
It's like a Transylvanian accent.
Well, I think she's
Sounds
Russian.
kind of Russian.
I think she was Russian in the... maybe I'm wrong. Whatever it was, it didn't sound like any place I've ever been to.
Evan Perry said I had to pull over to call my prom date for the last few turns because I forgot to print the second page from MapQuest. Different times.
Beautiful stories that we'll never have again. It's also like when people talk about I miss the days when you had to go ring a doorbell and actually risk like running into their family or their parents. You don't just get to send them the text, I'm outside.
Yeah.
I don't miss that.
Well, before I'm outside was a thing, you just honk the horn.
Yeah, there you go.
That was
but some might have considered that rude.
Yes.
Maybe.
Red Snow said little boy. I don't know what that means, but okay. You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And we've got another one from DCNC. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, meow, ma, meow, meow.
They can't send you hate. You broke up with everyone on Twitter yesterday.
Yeah, I had to break off that toxic relationship.
Okay. All right, guys. If you would like to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dastovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would prefer to listen to this podcast rather than watch it, and if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook, and not TikTok because we were banned, at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Mary, there's one more there.
Rhaegar Targaryen said Keanu Reeves' accent in Dracula was breathtaking.
I remember people talking about it being particularly bad, if I remember correctly. So, guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see you then.
Bye.
Later, everyone.